Baseball Classic. You play for your country. So many entertainment options in Los Angeles, but from Santa Monica to Hollywood, LA County is buzzing with baseball. Historic Dodger Stadium, the last stop in the tournament as the semifinals begin tonight. Team Puerto Rico undefeated, 3-0 in Mexico, 3-0 in San Diego, and 2 wins away from a title. Standing in the way, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, as they were in 2013, again in the semifinals of the World Baseball Classic. Welcome to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Tonight, the first of 2 semifinals. The Kingdom of the Netherlands and Puerto Rico fight for the right to move on to the finals on Wednesday. It all boils down to this, as we mentioned, Dodger Stadium, the final stop in the tournament. The winners who've qualified to come this far, 2 of them head-to-head tonight, the Kingdom of the Netherlands and Puerto Rico. Tomorrow night, in the second of 2 semifinals, it's the U.S. and Japan. The 2 winners clash on Wednesday to crown a tournament champion. With that, we welcome you to historic Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles with John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian. It all boils down to this day off in the tournament yesterday, and we are down to our Final 4.
Yeah, we're almost there. Ironically, each team that's represented here started from a different pool, so only 1 team from each pool has gotten here. We're 2 games away from getting to the championship, and we are now taking notice that Puerto Rico, being one of the best teams left in the pool, they're on a mission. They've been connected. The Kingdom of Netherlands, well, they're out to show why they're no longer 4 or 5 years ago an underdog. They belong here.
Yeah, those days are long gone for the Kingdom of the Netherlands. Let's take a look at the starting pitching matchup tonight. Rick Vandenhirk is a returnee to the event. He's got big league time. He gets the ball for the Dutch. And on the mound for Team Puerto Rico, Jorge Lopez.
Yeah, I think for these 2 guys, maybe not well known throughout the country of stars in the major leagues, but whoever goes longer, I think, puts their team in a winning situation. I believe that Lopez has a better chance to go deeper and then turn it over to the bullpen. But the Netherlands, this is going to be an offensive game, in my opinion, and I don't anticipate either starter going through the lineup twice.
There are some similarities with these 2 teams, and the one that slaps you in the face, the biggest similarity is how crazy talented and how deep each roster is at middle infield. That conversation starts with Team Puerto Rico, a handful of the most exciting young players in the game, John.
Yeah, they really are. They're young, they're dynamic, and everybody in Major League Baseball knows about these guys. They don't disappoint in any aspect of the game. Energy, defense, offense, they can run. These guys and the infield are what makes Puerto Rico tick.
We wondered who was going to move because there are a couple of great young shortstops in this lineup. Francisco Lindor playing shortstop here for the tournament. Carlos Correa has volunteered to go to the hot corner. He's manned it admirably. And Javi Baez has had a great tournament with 3 stolen bases in addition to the power he's shown. So for the Kingdom of the Netherlands, they too are deep up the middle. We could talk about Andrelton Simmons. We could talk about Jonathan Scope. There are a couple of other guys who've had great tournaments who play up the middle for them, one of whom they are without in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and that's going to hurt because offensively, them along with Puerto Rico have been the best 2 offenses in the WBC, and I think without Didi Gregorius, that is really going to cause a problem. And how do they fill that void? But this team, along with Puerto Rico, they can field it and they can hit.
Yeah, Jurickson Profar is here. He's had a great tournament thus far. Didi Gregorius is not. He's been returned to Yankee camp because of the right shoulder injury. Profar, for his part, has been phenomenal. You can see the numbers. He's playing center field. You'd never know he came up as a middle infielder. He's been great up the middle in the outfield, and he's standing by with J.P. Morosi.
It is time now for the starting lineup.
Thanks, Matt. Well, Jurickson, you've dealt with some injuries the last couple of years, but how much fun are you having right now?
A lot. You know, these past 3 years, I've been working a lot, you know, to get my shoulder right, and it's finally feeling great, and I'm having fun every day.
So as center field instructors go, Jurickson, how's Andrew Jones?
He's the best. He got like 10 gold gloves, so I'm listening to him all the time.
Thanks, Jurickson.
No problem.
Matty, back to you.
All right, JP, all set for our first 2 semifinals. The Kingdom of the Netherlands and Puerto Rico for the right to play for the title on Wednesday when we come back. Starting lineups and the first pitch from Dodger Stadium. next. Dynamic talent in Major League Baseball represented here in the City of Angels tonight. Welcome to Los Angeles, our first of two semifinals. Let's take a look at Team Netherlands starting lineups presented by Wall. Andrelton Simmons, Xander Bogart, and Jurickson Profar. Major League commodities at the top of the card. Vladimir Valentine is a Japanese League sensation. We'll tell you more about him as we continue. He's been a one-man wrecking crew for the Netherlands in the event. Jonathan Scope, Sean Zagara, Urendel de Castro, Kurt Smith, and Kalyan Sams round things out for the Dutch. And on the mound for Team Puerto Rico, the Milwaukee Brewers minor league pitcher of the year back in 2015, 24-year-old Jorge Lopez.
Jorge Lopez, straight over the top fastball. He'll reach 95 every once in a while. Curveball with pretty good break. And a tough task ahead of him for putting Puerto Rico in the championship game.
Underway at Dodger Stadium tonight. The curveball starts Andrelton Simmons with a strike. Simmons 9 for 27 so far in the tournament. He thought he was being quick pitch there for a minute. Instead, that baseball went into a trophy case someplace. The Netherlands 4-2 in tournament play so far, and appearing in the semifinals for the second consecutive running of the WBC as Simmons chases to go behind 0-2.
So a curveball and a changeup to start out. You know that he'll get through this game because Yadier Molina is so prepared behind the plate.
Little chip shot up the line at third. Correa's got to hurry. Bare hands and throws too late. Simmons can run, and it's an infield single that opens play tonight.
Well, for Vandenhirk, I think the one thing you got to do is you got to give your team a chance. Put up zeros, right? You put up zeros for Lopez, sorry. Put up zeros, and then number two, use that off speed. We've already seen the off speed working. And then try to get 5 innings. That would be the goal. If you get 5 innings, that would equal a win. Lopez right away starting off with some off-speed pitches, an unfortunate infield hit.
One of the big weapons for the Dutch is Xander Bogart's 4 for 19 so far in WBC play. A Silver Slugger as a Boston Red Sox in 2015 and again last year. And the first pitch to him misses high and away.
Last year he was on such a torrid pace to start out the campaign of the season for the Red Sox. Fizzled down the stretch, but still a big part of their success, and will be a big part of Kingdom of Netherlands if he can get going offensively.
2016 All-Star batting with a runner aboard to start the night tonight. Lopez out of the stretch in the very second assignment he faces, and it's 1-1. Well, we had a chance to visit with both managers before the game tonight. Each knows their fate. They are 2 wins away from the championship, and Hensley Bam Bam Mullins has been a part of the Dutch team ever since the first baseball classic back in 2006. This is his second straight tournament as its manager. Edwin Rodriguez undefeated so far in this running of the WBC. Cuidado. That one got him right in the small of the back. No chance to get out of the way. That was a tracker.
Yeah, those hurt. Those hurt more than you know, because the small of the back, when you see the pitch coming in there, all you can do is try and turn away from it. And there's just not a lot right there that feels good. You didn't get the big muscles involved in that one.
But that has put Lopez in a bad spot here as he's got to face the 2 hottest Dutch hitters with nobody out and runners at first and second. The switch hitting center fielder Jurickson Profar, just 12 for 23 with a home run. That's all he's done in 6 games. He has been one of Bam Bam Mullen's biggest weapons. The throw down to second, and they've got Simmons in no man's land. Welcome to Yadi Molina's game. And Molina steps on the third base bag and gets his side of the field all amped up. Man, he has single-handedly taken over this tournament.
Seriously, it's pretty unbelievable. Having played this game as long as I have, you could understand in basketball how one guy could dominate. There's only 5 out there, but his ability to affect the game is unreal, both from a pitching standpoint, defensively, and now offensively. That could be a huge rally killer already in the first inning.
Bogart was able to advance on the back end of that play. 1 gone now for Profar, who hits a 1-0 pitch into right field. Runners at the corners with 1 away. Oh, yeah. Well, they've got Rosario scouted with. Eddie Rosario's got a big-time gun, and then they go into first base, and Profar's out.
Seriously, you can't write this script, right? If you were making a movie about this, you couldn't write this. Yadier Molina does not take anything off. He doesn't take anything for granted. This is an absolute missile to home plate. And then what does he do? He just nonchalantly looks and says, okay, 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 gotcha.
Jurickson Profar was too busy getting the dugout going, and he is out at first base. My goodness. You talk about running yourself right out of a game. Simmons is over aggressive around second. Profar showboating at first, and now they're 2 away and a runner at third.
And that's going to be some of the, well, I don't like the word criticism, but some of the emotions that are played in this tournament and the actual call to oneself is going to come back to really hurt the Netherlands in this first inning.
Counts a ball and a strike to Vladimir Valentin. 3 home runs in the tournament. He's driven in 10. A much less threatening situation aboard for him. Runner at third, 2 gone.
So there has not been an out yet recorded other than Yadier Molina.
Lopez's first 3 batters that he faced, single hit batsman single, but there are 2 out and a runner at third. Big swing and a miss, and now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Vladimir Valentin. We'll talk plenty about Valentin tonight. A Japanese League record holder. 60 home runs in Japan a year ago. There's a drive cross to left. That's his 4th of the tournament. Santa Maria. Well, how's this for a first inning?
Well, like I said, I thought these 2 pitchers were going to have their hands full. Offensively, both these clubs can hit, and you're already seeing the emotion early. Couple emotions got him in trouble, but that one right there was a no-doubter. He sat there at home plate and admired it. Took about, I don't know, 7 or 8 seconds before he decided to kind of Johnny on down to first base and eventually touched home plate.
There's Jonathan Scope now. Well, that's the kind of power that's been no mystery to anybody watching this tournament. We mentioned the 60 home run season in Japan in 2013. Oh, man. A fly ball into the corner. Rosario's tracing it. It's out of play. A ball and a strike to Jonathan Scope. That is some crazy first inning.
That's some crazy power right there. That is somewhere that ball's going to come down about, I don't know, 390 feet.
Big swing and a miss from Jonathan Scope. A ball and 2 strikes to the outstanding Orioles second baseman.
That was more of the majestic fly ball home run. The exit velocity on that is just going to be close to 100 miles an hour, probably right around that number.
Ground ball to second for Javi Baez. I mean, rarely do we say if you missed the top of the first, you missed a whole lot. But in this case, it's true. At the end of it, it's a 2-0 head start for Team Netherlands. And we're just settling in. Let's take a look at our wall starting lineup for Team Puerto Rico. The switch-hitting veteran Angel Pagan has played left field throughout the tournament for Team Puerto Rico. He's out there again tonight. Lindor, Correa, and Beltran 2 through 4. Yadi Molina, the MVP from San Diego, bats number 5. Javi Baez, Eddie Rosario, TJ Rivera, and Raymond Fuentes round things out for the undefeated Team Puerto Rico. On the mound for the Dutch, 31-year-old Major League veteran right-hander Rick Vandenhirk, who pitched in Japan on March 12th and lasted only 3 innings, was cuffed around, 5 runs on 7 hits. Saw his tournament-wide numbers there. And a strike to make it 1-1 on Angel Pagan.
Fastball, slider, changeup, curveball. Curveball has a much slower break, but a bigger break. A little bit of a pause and then a knee drive home. Fastball downhill.
Angel Pagan sends a ball into foul territory behind 1-2. Pagan 7 for 26 in the tournament so far. Puerto Rico's lineup has been impressive. It's filled with major league stars, as you know, and they have delivered. One-two to Pagan, out to the opposite corner and well hit. Sams is on the run, and it's just out of play.
Well, with these 2 games before the championship, there's extra umpires here. More like a playoff game. You see the ball goes foul, and in these 2 games before the championship, there will be instant replay back in the tournament, unlike the previous 2 pools.
Yeah, good point. There are no managerial challenges. However, managers can request a crew chief challenge as often as they want. And you might ask yourself, well, what's the difference then? Well, the difference is this. In the case of an official challenge, as is standard in Major League Baseball now, that challenge has to be granted. The request for a crew chief challenge can be denied if the crew chief sees it appropriate. Now, here it is in print. We are back to something almost exactly like the Major League replay review policies, except for the managerial challenge component. And as John mentioned, 2 additional umpires here. This is just like the postseason in Major League Baseball, with an additional official in each corner. 1 gone for Vandenhirk. Here's Francisco Lindor now, who takes a strike.
Vandenhirk is going to have to be really good with his fastball on the corners, because the last 2 games Puerto Rico's jumped all over their opponents, scoring, getting 6 straight hits against the U.S. and then jumping on Venezuela in the 3rd game of the pool before they got here.
Lindor got the day off on Saturday, and the only day off he's had in this event. 7 for 18, 2 home runs. He's been as important to their success as one would have guessed at the start of the tournament. And back to the team damage. As John mentioned, Puerto Rico's been an offensive giant in this event. They've hit .330 as a team. 46 runs scored in their 6 games so far in WBC play.
Yeah, they did not trail last pool in San Diego. They trailed in Mexico, but they've been playing with enthusiasm and obviously ahead a lot.
One-two pitch into the corner and drifting foul. Lindor, an all-star in 2016, firmly established as one of the game's great young talents. He's the guy that get to keep his normal position on this roster, as Carlos Correa, the man waiting on deck, has shifted admirably over to 3rd. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Lindor. Already so much big game experience for the 23-year-old Cleveland Indian. Hit a pair of home runs in the postseason. Two balls and two strikes it remains to him with one away. 2-0 Kingdom of the Netherlands. The Valentine home run opening the scoring tonight. Could have been a much more damaging inning for the Dutch. They ran themselves into 2 outs, and then Valentine got him off the hook to a degree with the home run. Here's the next 2-2 home. Into the opposite gap. Lindor on his way to second with a 1-out double.
Well, for Vandenhirk, I think the biggest thing he's got to do is give him a chance, right? Just put them in a position where he keeps them close. Get through the order. I know that sounds elementary, but this is a tough order to get through without chaos. And then that improved curveball, be able to mix it in. You saw it previously to Lindor. He's thrown some changeups and then trying to spot his fastball. I think this will be the biggest test for him and for the Kingdom of Netherlands.
Lindor aboard, an RBI opportunity early for the 2015 American League Rookie of the Year, Carlos Correa. Correa, one of 4 starters in Puerto Rico's lineup that has played every game of the tournament so far.
I would be very careful on a first pitch fastball right here to Correa.
First pitch to him from Vandenhirk.
Oh, man.
Takes a fastball for a strike.
This one looked good right here if you're going to let the barrel go, but he was taken.
And it's 0-2. Carlos Beltran waits on deck, the veteran DH and 9-time All-Star who's had a great tournament.
There's the slider on the outer half.
Lindor off second. Correa's gone deep twice in the tournament, driven in 7 on a 6-for-16 start, as Lindor has a little fun with Jonathan Scope and Andrelton Simmons. Most of the Dutch players are multilingual, which means they can visit with just about anybody in this tournament, including the Japanese team that'll take on the U.S. tomorrow. So many of the Dutch players have played professionally in Japan, including their manager, Hensley Bam Bam Mullins. That's one of the 5 languages that Bam Bam speaks. And the same can be said for a lot of the players on his roster, too. Papiamento, English, Spanish. I'm guessing this is a Spanish conversation. I don't know, maybe not.
I'm guessing it's gamesmanship nonetheless.
They're having a lot of fun, that's for sure.
Scope basically acting like a first baseman as long as he can, then he'll pull away to his position.
And Correa lifts off. A 2-2 ball game. Oh, it's going to be one of those nights.
These guys are enjoying it, but maybe it will get out of their system in about 2 weeks. I don't think they'll be doing that in the course of the season, but right now it's a lot of fun and entertaining.
Here's Carlos Beltran now, a 2-2 game early
Here's a hanger for you. And that's that curveball. And he stays back, and it's a perfect recipe for launching a baseball. Curveball, spin, and slider when it's a hanger.
1-1 to Carlos Beltran. That's halfway up the pavilion, folks.
Well, both guys hit it and knew exactly when they hit it. They could sit there and have a conversation if they wanted to before they started running, because that's how good it felt.
2 balls and a strike to Carlos Beltran.
And the reason I talked about getting through the lineup once, and again, you would never think that way as a starter, but just watching how Vandenhirk works and what he has to do to be successful, and knowing the Puerto Rican lineup, both pitchers were going to have their challenges today.
We saw how aggressive the Puerto Rico lineup was in San Diego. You alluded to this night, John, when they jumped Marcus Stroman for 6 straight singles and 4 runs before there was even an out on the board. It's already been a 20-pitch inning from Rick Vandenhirk. Both of the hits have come with 2 strikes. There's a 3-1 and a base hit for the veteran DH.
Number 4, Yadier Molina.
StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services is going to talk about this hanger right here. Correa, so strong, 40 home run guy playing shortstop, 109 miles an hour. See the height in the distance. We talked about San Diego at night. LA at night is similar, where the ball doesn't travel as much as it does obviously during the day, but I don't think it would have mattered where you played in those 2 home runs.
I would agree. Here's Yadier Molina now, and on the first pitch to third base for Bogarts. The scope for 1, the relay back to DeCastro gets them both. Damage minimized, but we're right back to even. A monster home run by Carlos Correa makes it an early 2-2 ball game. This World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Go get rewarded now at bestwestern.com. And by the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Beautiful day in Malibu along PCH. Your guy Dero was there last night.
Yeah, he's in town with the
living big.
Pre and post game.
Yeah, we've got the whole crew here, complete live pre and post game coverage from Dodger Stadium prior to each one of these semifinal contests. And again, we're going to blow it out on Wednesday for the championship. Here's Sean Zaraga leading things off in the second for the Dutch. Switch hitting catcher followed by Urendel DeCaster and Kurt Smith. But Lopez watches his lineup get those 2 runs back for him immediately. A pair of 2-run home runs. But that's really not the only story. In fact, we'll kind of explain the first inning for you in a little bit more in-depth fashion in a moment. A strike to make it 3-1 to Sean Zaraga. Jair Jurgens is up much earlier than anybody on the Dutch side could have hoped for. And a swing and a miss to fill the count. A lot of people were wondering if Jurgens was going to start tonight, and Hensley Mullins wanted to roll the dice with Vandenhirk as long as he could. He's not holding anybody back. An opposite field fly ball into the left field corner. Pagan is there, and there's one away. So talking about the first inning, we got to go back and reset what happened for you. Simmons opened the ball game with a base hit. And then Bogarts was hit by a pitch, and it looked like the Dutch had something cooking. Then after a Profar single, that was Simmons getting thrown out. After a Profar single, he was trying to get his dugout going, and Yadier Molina just threw him out. Simple as that. Then a 2-run home run by Valentin at least cleaned it up. But that could have been a much more productive inning for the Netherlands had it not been for Simmons taking a wide turn at second. And Profar kind of losing his way at first base. One away for Urendel DeCaster. 5 for 13 so far in World Baseball Classic action. DeCaster, a returnee to the event. In fact, he's been here for all 4 runnings of the WBC. 37-year-old native of Curacao. He also represented the Netherlands in the Olympic Games on 2 separate occasions. And for all his international experiences, just 3 career games in the Grande Ligas.
See Lopez really trying to get his off speed to be the decision maker, meaning get an out on it, get a swing and miss. Fastball trying to absolute paint with it, but the fastball is pretty straight.
To Correa. He can play anywhere, folks. Oh, he has made a handful of brilliant plays at third base. Prior to this World Baseball Classic, not a single professional inning anywhere but shortstop.
Well, this is a rocket one hopper right here, and he just gets down almost like a catcher and does his best ability to spear that backhand. And he's got plenty of time because he's got a cannon.
Two gone, bases empty now for Kurt Smith. JP, John Smoltz said earlier in the tournament he better be careful down there. If he's too good, he's going to give the Astros too much to think about.
Well, Matty, I asked Carlos Correa yesterday, how much are you enjoying third base? He said it's great for 2 weeks. He wants to play shortstop. He'll be doing that again by the end of this week.
Yeah, I don't think he's got anything to worry about. They're keeping the chair warm for him at Astros camp. It's his job, period. And now Molina's going to go out and chat with Lopez as the count goes to 3 balls and a strike on the Dutch DH.
One of the things we've seen that's been a theme in this tournament, of course, each game is kind of a playoff game, right? So you're going to be more attention to a lot of details. Been a lot of meetings, a lot of pitch change, and the games therefore go a little bit longer. But with Yadier Molina, it's not just to do it. He has and will, with his pitching staff, correct a problem or entice the pitcher to a plan that he has incorporated in his head.
Back to work quickly. The 3-1 pitch is lined into the opposite field, and Kurt Smith is aboard on a 2-out base hit.
Well, defensively, we've already seen and talked about Team Puerto Rico and what they can do. Their outfield still better than adequate. Pagan, Fuentes, and Rosario. What a cannon he has displayed already in the infield. Correa, Lindor, and Baez steal the headlines. Rivera at first, and Molina behind the plate, the general.
So a 2-out base runner aboard for the left fielder, Kalyan Sams. Sams, a 30-year-old veteran, came up with a big hit in the World Baseball Classic in its last running in 2013. Walk-off sac fly that beat Cuba and touched off a huge celebration, one of the indelible moments in this tournament's history. JP, this is a roster made up of players from all over the, quote, kingdom.
It is, and Kalyan Sams, he grew up in The Hague, the Netherlands, of course, in Europe, but his parents traced their roots to the island of Statia in the Caribbean. Population 3,000.
High fly ball to left field. Pagan says he's got to play on it. Oh, wait, so did Fuentes. Call the ball, Maverick. You're at 10 feet. Nothing comes of the 2-out single despite a little miscommunication in left center. He played an inning and a half in Los Angeles tonight. Puerto Rico and the Netherlands in a 2-2 tie. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Back with John Smoltz and JP Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. The Hollywood sign. 1923. I mean, that Hollywood back in 1923. No Snapchat, no Instagram. How did kids watch movies? Can't even believe it. Javi Baez leads things off in the Puerto Rico half of the second. Baez, Rosario, and Rivera against Rick Vandenhirk, who gave up the 2-run home run to Carlos Correa in the first. Vandenhirk has made one previous appearance here in this ballpark. Way back in 2009, July 29th of that year, as a Marlin. And he threw the ball well. 5 innings of work, allowed a run. I know that a lot of his former Marlins teammates are working in the media now. And I know that our intrepid reporter John Paul Morosi did his fair share of phone calling in preparing for his appearance today and spoke to some of those ex-mates.
I did, Matt, and one story that I loved in talking to Dontrelle Willis and Matt Trainer, 2 of his former teammates there with the Marlins,
it's a base hit by Baez,
was that after his major league debut in 2007, Vandenhirk received an official proclamation with the royal seal from Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands delivered to the Marlins clubhouse. And both Matt and Dontrelle told me they still remember to this day, Matt, just how emotional Rick Vandenhirk was to see that proclamation with the royal seal on it delivered right to him.
That's a big deal. I know that a lot of the athletes that come from the Kingdom of the Netherlands, from Curacao, from Aruba, they reach the kind of lofty heights societally where they become knighted. Sir Didi Gregorius, Sir Eugene Kingsale, and Sir Hensley Mullins. JP, is Bam Bam knighted as well?
He is knighted. Xander Bogart's knighted as well. And again, Hensley Mullins this spring, Matt, has been one of the busiest men in all of baseball. He was, of course, working for the Giants, as he still does, as their batting coach. So he did that camp in the mornings, and then in the very afternoon, he'd go back to the minor league side of the Giants complex where the Dutch players were training as well.
On the ground is shortstop. Man, that could not have worked out any better for the Dutch. Andrelton Simmons slid over to cover the throw, and it made for a rather easy 6-3 double play.
Yeah, that was tailor-made. I don't know that it would have been this easy had he not been going. You see where Simmons and the new slide rule allows him to just kind of patiently stand up and throw the ball to first easy. He's got a cannon. I think he has the best shortstop arm that I personally have seen in a long time.
2-time Gold Glover in his 4 major league seasons, and there was no doubt as to which of the shortstop candidates would play shortstop for the Kingdom of the Netherlands team. 2 out, bases empty now for TJ Rivera.
So here you have the slide. You got to go straight into the bag. No longer can you take out the infielder. And he goes in and easily avoids.
Whacked into the left field corner. TJ Rivera, touch 'em all. His second of the tournament. He looks like Alex Rodriguez. His setup at the plate is Alex Rodriguez, and that time the results were very Alex Rodriguez. Two-out home run gives Puerto Rico their first lead of the game. Here's Raymond Fuentes now.
I'm going to tell you something. That ball was hit down the line and hit out. Pulls his hands in. That ball was absolutely delivered to the stands pretty quickly. What just took place right here, I haven't seen in my lifetime a foul ball that goes off the mask, over the screen, into. Check this out. This ball hits off the top half of the mask, and it goes way over the screen. And of course, with all the protocols for concussions, I'm telling you, that ball went a long ways backwards. You don't see that very often.
No. Dutch trainer comes out to check out Sean Zaraga, make sure he's okay. The Dutch are carrying 3 catchers in this round of the tournament, so there's a little additional depth there for Bam Bam Mulens.
By the way, you could hide a couple golf balls in that mustache of the trainer there.
And a strike called to Raymond Fuentes, who's 2 for 13 so far in the tournament. The 0-2 from Vandenhirk. And they got him looking. First strikeout of the game from Vandenhirk, but the Puerto Ricans have their first lead of the game, and it comes on their second home run tonight. Solo shot by TJ Rivera. The winner of this one meets the winner of tomorrow night's semifinal matchup. The United States and Japan. Tanner Roark will try to pitch the Americans farther than they've ever gone before in the championship game. Right here at Dodger Stadium at 6 Eastern on Wednesday. Andrelton Simmons leads things off in the Dutch half of inning number 3. Top of the order here against Lopez. It's Simmons, Bogarts, and Profar. Part of the order started with bang. Single hit batsman single. But after 2 base running gaffes, they ended up with a runner at third and 2 gone, and then Vladimir Valentin got him off the hook with a big 2-run home run. 3 balls and no strikes. Molina goes out to chat with the young right-hander. Jorge Lopez, by the way, and I realize that the Winter League is not, it's not exactly the NL West, but Jorge Lopez had a terrific Puerto Rican Winter League campaign with Mayaguez. 1.56 ERA, a whip under 1 in 9 starts, and a strike to Simmons.
Well, none of those pitches in the first 3 were called a strike. That's why Simmons thought this is right where the other ones were, and probably right.
Fastball poured in for strike 2, and from a 3-0 count now to a full count to Andrelton Simmons.
Well, he did this in the previous inning, went to 3-0 and worked his way back and got a fly ball to left field. Zaraga was at the plate. See if he can do it again in the 3rd.
Payoff pitch home. And a called strike 3.
Well, I got to be honest. If I'm Simmons, I'm a little confused too. There was probably some strikes in that at bat that were called balls, and some balls that were called strikes, and he didn't like it, and he probably shouldn't have.
One gone on the first strikeout by Lopez tonight. Here's Xander Bogarts now. Bogarts was hit by a pitch in the first. 388 hits since the start of the 2015 season, and trails only Jose Altuve over that period. Such a great year last season, a .294 average. As John mentioned, got out of the gates red hot last year.
Well, maybe that's the secret. 3-0, lull them to sleep, and then work your way back into the count from 3-0. dangerous formula, by the way.
You don't advocate that?
No.
Here's the 3-0 rather, and this time he loses the hitter. So Bogarts reaches on a base on balls. You know, the key for this lineup for the Dutch is as many opportunities as possible for Profar and Valentin with runners on base. And so far so good in that capacity. Here's Profar now, who singled in the first, and then in trying to get his dugout fired up at the first base bag, took his time getting back on top of the bag itself, and he was thrown out by Yadier Molina. There comes Ricky Bonas, the pitching coach for Puerto Rico. Hector Santiago is up in the bullpen, and the plan has been all along, as you see the Dutch bullpen also busy, Santiago up on the Puerto Rico side. The plan was as much as you can out of Lopez, and then you go to the veteran Santiago. That's what Puerto Rico did back on March 11th when they beat Mexico, and the same formula will apply tonight. So here's Profar now for a second time. He's had a great tournament, 13 for 24 with a homer. It's exceptional, the players in this tournament that have played out of position and done so without missing a beat. And hence the Mulans told us before the game, Profar is such a good athlete, nobody's really worried about him in center. He's not been tested on a rocket into the gap yet, nor has he been tested on a tricky relay play, but he's made all the routine plays and has handled the position very well.
He's got one of the best teachers in the game on their staff, Andrew Jones, being able to give him all the insights to play in center field. Nobody did it better, in my opinion.
Out.
JP, you wonder if this is kind of increased his stock for his major league employer as well.
No question, Matt, and certainly the Rangers plan to have Carlos Gomez play center field for them this year, but certainly Profar now fits into the left field mix at the very least, with the likes of Ryan Rua and Delino DeShields Jr. And really, Matt, it's similar to Bogarts back in 2013. At the time, he was only a Red Sox shortstop prospect, but then, of course, they had Stephen Drew. So playing in the WBC for Bogarts 4 years ago helped him play third base on the World Series champion Red Sox later that year.
Profar takes the pitch down. Yeah, he's just 24 years old, and we've forgotten what a super prospect Jurickson Profar was before a series of shoulder injuries derailed. And that's back to Lopez for out number 2.
StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, will take us to this mammoth home run. Hit high, hit far, and he was saying, look, StatCast is going to tell us what that is. 6 seconds on the hang time. 422 feet.
A 2-out runner at second for Vladimir Valentin. We have witnessed firsthand tonight in just one plate appearance his prolific power. So go back to 2009 when Valentin was a Red. And this is a guy that only had a few years of big league time. He hit a 495-foot home run against the Pirates' Daniel McCutcheon. That was the longest home run in baseball that year. And it just happened to be his last big league home run, as they opt to intentionally walk him here.
It was funny. Yadier is going to be used to the new rules, so he was like, you're going to first. But in this competition, you have to throw for the intentional walk. Major League Baseball has done away with the intentional walk, so when they want to walk somebody, they just say beat it. Go down to first.
Got to go through it anyway. So they'll go through the standard trappings of the intentional walk. But after that big home run that Valentin hit, longest home run in baseball, and then he's done. He's out of the league. He signed to go play in Japan, and his career there has been legendary. Let's take you back to it. His last home run in the Grande Ligas, and nobody hit one farther that year. He's averaged 30 a year in Japan, and again, as we mentioned, hit a single season Japanese League record 60 in 2013. And it's so hard to believe, John, that a guy like this has not found his way back to the big leagues. Here comes Edwin Rodriguez, and it looks like he might have the hook in his pocket here. He does indeed. He wants Hector Santiago with Jonathan Schoop due up. 2 out and 2 on in the third. So Lopez gone early. He does leave his team leading, however. Our first pitching change of the night. We'll be right back. Pitching change of the night. Lopez is gone after 2 2/3 tonight. Leaves with the lead. He has a big support system here and has gotten a lot of inspiration from his family watching tonight, JP.
Carla and Mikhail right there. Carla, his wife, Mikhail, his 3-year-old son. Mikhail has been diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and Jorge also told me that his son is still seeing a speech therapist to help him in that regard as well. So he's dealt with a number of health issues, Matt, in the first 3 years of his life. When I asked Jorge yesterday what he has learned from his son, he said, he has taught me to be a warrior. He always smiles, even through all the things he's gone through, and he said he really draws a lot of inspiration from his son.
Some of the personal details behind the performer tonight. Jonathan Schoop is the hitter. And the pitching change brings the veteran left-hander Hector Santiago into the mix.
Santiago relies heavily on his fastball, and he throws across his body and likes to pound the ball in, as you saw right there. He creates cut spin on that fastball, and the hitter just doesn't see it. He does a good job hiding the ball.
Hector grew up in Newark, New Jersey. He is of Puerto Rican descent. Last year split his time between the Angels and Twins. Originally a White Sox draft choice. Broke in with the White Sox in 2011. Had some good years with the Angels, including an all-star campaign with them. A ball and 2 strikes is the count to Jonathan Schoop. Schoop is that rare right-handed hitter with the reverse splits. Just a career .227 batter against southpaws. And in fact, Santiago's had his way with Schoop in the past. Just 1 for 4 against him, and each of the last 3 times they faced one another, it's resulted in a strikeout.
He'll throw a lot of high fastballs. It's very difficult for a hitter to stay off of the angle which he throws, and it makes his fastball look a lot harder than it is.
And he struck him out again. Hector Santiago comes out of the PR bullpen and strikes a man out, stranding 2. Still a 3-2 Puerto Rico lead. Of course, tomorrow night we'll be right back here near downtown Los Angeles at Chavez Ravine Dodger Stadium for our second of 2 semifinal games, the U.S. and Japan. And the winner in each of these 2 semis plays Wednesday night for the title. And we have an early pitching change for the Dutch, a very familiar major league commodity. Jair Jurgens back in a prominent role after really disappearing from the major league landscape. 31-year-old from Curacao will take over after just 2 innings from Rick Vandenhirk tonight. Top of the order for Puerto Rico, Pagan, Lindor, and Correa.
Well, Jurgens, of course, pitching for the Braves when I remember him. Unfortunately, his knee injury really did him in a little bit and has caused a delay really in his return to prominence. Good sinker, changeup.
Pagan with a shot out to center field. Profar handles it for route number 1. Yeah, the last we saw of Jair Jurgens in a big league uniform was back in August of 2015. In fact, he was in camp with the Rockies, spent the season on their AAA roster, and then was released in August. Last year he pitched in the Chinese Professional League, which is ironically in Taiwan. Don't ask. Maybe JP can figure that one out for us. But we remember Jair Jurgens From his great years in Atlanta, he was an all-star in 2011, 13-6 that year with a sub-3 ERA. And it looked as though he was going to be in that Braves rotation for a long time. Then the knee problems that John talked about, and he's trying to work his way back. 2 balls and no strikes to Francisco Lindor. JP, why do we call the Chinese Professional Baseball League the Chinese Professional Baseball League, but it's in Taiwan?
That question, Matt, is far above my pay grade, my friend. But that is the name of the league. And actually, as we talked before, Scott Richmond, who we saw in the first pool, is pitching in the Chinese Professional Baseball League right now in Taiwan. And actually, the tournament that took place there a couple years ago, where many of these Dutch players represented their country there as well, the Premier 12, was a very good showcase for players in terms of maybe finding a new career there pitching in Asia.
Counts 2 balls and a strike on Francisco Lindor. 3-1 now. Well, this was a move born of necessity, and as Hensley Mullins told us before the game, John, I've got to worry about tonight. There's no holding Jurgens back for the championship game on Wednesday. .3-1 to Lindor is bounced up the middle. Simmons glides to his left for route number 2.
Yeah, it just wasn't a great matchup for Vandenhirk. And like I mentioned, get through the lineup seems elementary, but that's about all he was allowed to do, is get through the lineup. They had a lot of good cuts on him. Jurgens' experience might just well be a better mix for Kingdom of Netherlands.
Jurgens. Carlos Correa now with 2 out and the base is empty. He struck for a big 2-run home run in the first. Now 7 for 17 with 3 home runs in the tournament.
He's starting to heat up.
If Puerto Rico beats the Netherlands tonight, and if the U.S. beats Japan tomorrow, 2 of the bright, young, talented Astros playing in this tournament will see each other head-to-head. Alex Bregman on Team USA, who really hasn't had a chance at a lot of playing time, and Carlos Correa, of course, for these Puerto Rico players. Two guys who will anchor that infield in Houston for a lot of years to come.
Yeah, in San Diego, the 3 of them were on 3 different squads. If you think about Altuve.
Right.
And then, as you mentioned, Bregman and Correa.
Jair Jurgens starts this one, having thrown 9 innings in the tournament so far. That's the biggest workload of any of the Dutch pitchers. This is his 3rd appearance. Hall of Fame pitching coach Bert Blyleven, first ever Dutch-born Hall of Famer.
Well, they were hoping for a different formula. If somehow, some way, Vandenhirk were to give him 4 or 5 innings, they could throw Jair for 1, and then if they got to the championship, bring him back and start. But as you mentioned, the necessity of this lineup that Puerto Rico has in the score, that's an afterthought now. They're going to try to find a way to get to that point.
Worry about Wednesday on Wednesday, if they are so fortunate. Still 0-2 to Carlos Correa. As we mentioned, Tanner Roark tomorrow for the Americans, and he is one of the guys that made the early commitment to Jim Leyland and Team USA, who's only made 1 appearance in the tournament so far. That's going to be a tough play, and Correa will beat it out. Man, when he's not hitting at 450 feet, he has a 24-foot number. That's good for a base hit.
Can't defend that, of course.
Designated hitter, Carlos Beltran.
So now Carlos Beltran, the switch hitting 9-time All-Star with a runner aboard and 2 gone. Beltran singled in the 2-run first, and then he was doubled off as Yadi Molina rolled a ground ball to get Vandenhirk out of the jam. So 2 veterans of Major League play who've seen one another often, and Beltran has never really enjoyed those experiences. Just 4 for 22 against the former Brave. Carlos playing in his 4th World Baseball Classic. And for folks that are just tuning in our tournament tonight, we talked about this way back in Miami, that along with Yadi Molina, Carlos Beltran was one of the team leaders who gathered the entire roster before their first game, spoke passionately about his country, about the legacy of baseball in Puerto Rico, and implored the younger players to take control from here on out. Carlos said, when we played in this event back in the day, we did so with Pudge Rodriguez and Bernie Williams. We were the young guys and they were the leaders. Now we're the senior statesmen, but we're handing you young guys the keys. Carlos Correa, Javi Baez. Oh, and 1 the count to Beltran. Dutch pitch out. There have been some notable names that have participated in every running of this event. We talked about Carlos Beltran representing Puerto Rico for all 4. Yadi Molina joins him off the Puerto Rico roster. Miguel Cabrera and K-Rod from Venezuela. Jose Reyes into the opposite corner to retire the side. Puerto Rico turned away for the first time on the scoreboard. We played 3 complete tonight at Dodger Stadium, a 3-2 ball game. Paul Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. A 3-2 lead for Team Puerto Rico as we open the top half of the 4th inning tonight. A gorgeous, albeit a little chilly night in Southern California, and I get it, that's all relative. It's still cold in the Northeast. We're complaining about 59 and mild out here in LA. Looking for some rain the next 2 days, though. That would not be bueno.
No, that would not. But the drought is over here.
Yes, it is. I'll say. Sean Zaraga leads things off in the Dutch half of the 4th. Zaraga, DeCaster, and Smith against Hector Santiago, who came on to close out the 3rd. Puerto Rico fans had a good time in San Diego, did they not? Man, they were everywhere. 0-2.
They saw 3 victories, and for most of them could just drive right up the road. Hopefully see 2 more.
Ball and 2 strikes to Sean Zaraga, the switch hitting catcher, who was 2 for 7 earlier in the tournament. As I mentioned, there's some additional catching depth on the Dutch roster. 3 catchers is what they carry in this round.
Well, the interesting thing for me was going to see, and not only is it single elimination, but the distance traveled by Team Netherlands. The fact that they've had a much bigger layoff, they played a couple games in Arizona, to just see what their timing would be like. Well, offensively, it doesn't seem to have bothered them, because they jumped out with a bunch of hits and 2 runs early.
Really unfortunate that during that kind of tune-up process in the Grapefruit League, Didi Gregorius became unavailable. Again, a shoulder injury. He was returned to the Yankees, not here in uniform tonight. He was a big part of their success earlier in the tournament.
They started out early and they made a camp there in Arizona to train together. And then I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 5,500 miles later, that's the distance traveled to their region and back. They're here competing. You see the numbers on how they've done offensively, and a lot of home runs.
And strike 3. Santiago struck out both of the hitters he's faced. There's one gone here in the 4th. Between innings, J.P. Morosi had a chance to visit with Puerto Rico's manager Edwin Rodriguez.
Edwin, how do you describe what Yadier Molina did in the first inning?
No, it is amazing. He has a very good feel for what kind of stuff the pitcher has. And in this case, it was Jorge Lopez. The speed was there, but the location wasn't. So that we were very close. We were paying attention very closely to what Yadi was telling us. So it's amazing that, you know, the communication between Yadi and us. I mean, it's crucial.
With Carlos Correa, so selfless of him to play third base in this tournament. How about him offensively and defensively?
I mean, he's been doing both sides of the game. I mean, defensively and offensively, we just saw what he did at third base. That was a great play there, a great reflex at third base. I'm telling you, man, this kid have a great future, and he can play shortstop. So I would keep him there until he plays his way out. But I mean, third base, he had a huge future there.
Edwin, gracias.
Gracias. Yeah.
Long fly ball off the bat of Yurendel de Castro that was handled by Fuentes at the wall for out number 2. He didn't bring it back. That would have been off the top of the wall, but a nice little hop. And Fuentes prevents any damage from that well hit drive. Here's Curt Smith now with 2 away. We should mention that the play that JP was talking about with Edwin Rodriguez, if you weren't with us in the first, talking about how do you describe the play and what Molina did. Yadi Molina was responsible for 2 outs to start the ball game in what could have been a huge inning for the Dutch. He threw out Andrelton Simmons after taking a wide turn at second base. And then after a base hit, he snapped a throw into first when Jurickson Profar was looking into the dugout trying to get his teammates fired up.
Yeah, one will never know how many runs that could have turned into, because of course the home run was hit right after all that took place.
I mean, if this ends a 1-run ball game, you're going to circle that half inning. I think Andrew's trying to talk to you, John. Toward the seats and out of play for Rivera. I do believe your ex-teammate is trying to communicate with you somehow.
Yeah, he's looking. I'm up higher. Buddy. Up higher. You gotta look higher. Best I've ever seen. I was so fortunate to have him behind me.
10-time Gold Glover.
I'm just telling you, I would take every outfielder and shag with them, and we would stand side by side. Get a walk here, and we would play obviously the shagging game, you know, up to 500 and whatever, and his quick step and instincts was off the charts. I could hang with any of them except for Andrew Jones.
Would he shag?
Yeah.
I mean, usually a guy wins 10 Gold Gloves, he doesn't shag much.
Well, I would call him out to a competition, and that would obviously intrigue him. And we'd go with it. You know, we would alternate pitches in BP, so we didn't have this scenario where you run into each other or you create a problem. It was so quiet and it was so smooth. Again, it's hard to describe. You rarely saw him dive. You rarely saw him get fooled. And for a guy like me, four-seam fastball that said, go ahead, try to beat my man in center field. Hardly anybody did.
0-1 the count to Kalyan Sams. And a little flare that's going to be trouble. A base hit for Sams. Quick throw back into second. Wow, and the Dutch almost ran themselves into another out. Smith just barely able to get back to the bag.
Yeah, that was on Lindor. The swipe tag is high. He doesn't go down with it. Baez knows exactly what he's going to do when he grabs it, and see the tag goes up and out more than down. He tries to swipe up and misses him. Catches him too late.
Ball beat him there. He was out.
Great,
as you mentioned.
Yeah, great slide to the outside part of the bag. It's the only way he was going to be safe.
Second base umpire Rob Drake on top of it and got the call right, as we could confirm. I think they're taking a look here. Edwin's going to ask for a challenge, but it is our guess that when they look at this, the call will be upheld. Again, this is not a standard managerial challenge. He's simply asking for a crew chief review.
See how the glove went down and then up? And what they're hoping is when he gets him on the back side, has the hand touched? And the hand has touched. Did it come off at any point while he was holding the tag? And I don't think so.
So the folks back in New York City are taking a look, and we'll show it to you again from a couple of different angles. I didn't think at the time he was safe, for the reason you just described, John. The tag was kind of up the body and not on the hand there.
A little twist to the replays. When the season starts, the managers are going to have 30 seconds from the time the play has been concluded. The hope is to speed up the process and therefore not to get every single play right. That's not really what was intended for instant replay, and I know it's hard for people at home to believe that, but it was to correct the more obvious plays that go and have been made by a mistake by an umpire. So a little bit of a twist change there. As we mentioned already, the intentional walk is a change as well.
You know, this one seemed pretty clear to us. They want to be as thorough as possible back in New York City, so they're taking an extra good look at this. Meanwhile, the big story here for me is the Dutch have to kind of get it together on the base paths. I mean, they've run into 2 outs already, and that was nearly a third.
Yeah, that was a tough play because the runner's going to look at the third base coach to get his. He can't see what's happening behind him. He can only see when the crack of the bat with 2 outs. So that one's a little bit tougher.
And the call is upheld. So the base hit by Sams, and Smith safe at second base after the feats don't fail me now scurry back to the bag, and an opportunity for Andrelton Simmons.
Call stand.
Simmons is 1 for 2 so far tonight. Singled in the first, was called out on strikes in the third after being in front 3-0. Facing Santiago for the first time tonight, and a bouncer to shortstop that'll put an end to the inning. 2 left stranded in the Dutch half of the fourth. We've played 3.5. It's still 3-2 Puerto Rico. I'm on that show?
You are on that show.
Because I didn't see myself on that.
And
on that promo, I didn't see myself in there.
They are giving. They don't want to give away all the secrets early with the promos. But I'm just telling you, I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to get on the show. It's one of the things that I enjoy.
Well, if in fact I'm returning to it, we can't wait to have you. Yadi Molina leads things off in the Puerto Rico half of the fourth. 3-2 ball game. The scoring early, couple of 2-run home runs, each coming in the first. Yeah, ball down and away.
Notice Yadi is not going to complain.
Far too good a diplomat for that. Instead, he'll just hook a base hit in the left. He has been unbelievable in this tournament. Leadoff hitter aboard between innings. J.P. Morosi visited with Kingdom of the Netherlands manager Hensley Mullins.
Van was the first inning a case of maybe too much emotion by your team?
Yeah, you know, we talked about Yadi in our meeting before the game. You know, we urged them to get back to the base, but, you know, the guys were emotional right there. And that two guys got picked off, and we could have scored a big inning right there, but we ended up scoring 2 runs, so we got to control it now and try to score some more for our pitching.
With Jurgens in the game now, how long do you think he can go?
As long as he can. You know, there's a do or die game. You know, he's going to pitch as long as he can. He's not a guy that's going to bounce back and pitch on Wednesday anyway, so he's going to go as long as he can.
Thank you well.
You're welcome.
Javi Baez now with the leadoff hitter aboard as J.P. regales us with his, I guess it's fair to say, limited knowledge of Papiamento. I'm not ready to call him fluent. That's not among the 8 languages he speaks fluently. But maybe by the end of the night. Ball and no strikes, the count to Javi Baez, who's had a great tournament. 7 for 21 with a home run, 5 driven in and a stolen base.
Well, if you like big swings and you haven't seen the World Series last year or this guy play, one of the biggest, hardest swings.
Into the corner and foul.
And believe it or not, he's actually cut down a little bit on that big swing. This is a young kid who came in and everybody fell in love with his power. Tremendous power, but the ability to swing and miss was way up there. And now he's cut down a little bit with the help of the Cubs organization.
I don't believe he broke that bat. He may have, but he wanted a new one in either case. And he was directing his teammates to get a specific bat from the very corner of the dugout. Maybe that's his Wonder Boy.
Yes, it was in the case. And they opened it up, brought it up.
It was glowing. Angels singing as the case opened up. Let's see what he can do with the new bat. Left-handed batter Eddie Rosario waiting on deck. Leadoff hitter aboard here. Last of the 4th in a 1-run game. Jurgens' next offering is swung on and missed.
The 2 areas that you can get Baez is one right there, close to the dirt, and then higher than high. Those are the 1 areas that he will expand the zone. But if you leave anything fat over the plate, he's going to make you pay.
2016 NLCS MVP, and Dodger fans remember that performance. 4 doubles, 5 driven in, 2 stolen bases in the win over Los Angeles. 2-2 to him.
Let's face it, the Cubs have a lot of stars. That's why they're great, and that's why they won the championship, the World Series. But this is the guy that if you talk to Joe Madden, he is the most valuable asset that he has on his ball club because he can use him anywhere on the field.
He's played all over the infield in his career. Baez sends a ball to center. Profar started back, and he doesn't have a chance to recover. It's a base hit. Runners at first and second. Well, Profar, again, as we mentioned, has handled the routine plays nicely, and he just did not get a good read off the bat there.
No, that's the tough one, okay? That's what every center fielder will tell you. The big swing, respect the power type guy, but then the ball doesn't match the swing. It's off the end of the bat, and by this point, if he hasn't read it already, he's not going to be able to get to it. And learning and talking with Andrew Jones, there's different ways to read the ball off the bat as an outfielder than it would be as an infielder. The sound of the bat, the swing, and then the angles which you take. So that just fooled him, and understandably so. When you've not been out there, that may look like on TV, like how could you not catch that?
So Bert Blyleven comes out to chat with Jurgens. And Javi Baez says, look, I know that game. I know it's not you, it's me. I invented it's not you, it's me. Looking at Jonathan Scope saying, I'm not going to fall for the ban in the tailpipe. All right, first and second with nobody out.
They're going to discuss the bunt plays as Simmons is over there talking about the responsibilities of what might be if the bunt is on.
Eddie Rosario grounded into a double play back in the second. He is bunting foul.
That time Simmons was coming over to third. Molina got a huge jump. A couple different plays you could play this. You try to get the runner at third with a slower runner, and Molina would be classified as that. Simmons will get a break over. A late break, though, trying to beat Molina in case it's hit to Scope. Not Scope, but Bogart's playing third.
A ball and a strike. Yankee third base coach Joe Espada in the third base coaching box for Team Puerto Rico, as he has been all tournament long. Rosario, another one of the Puerto Rico players that had a great Winter League run. His team did, at least, throwing to second base on Yachty.
Momentum pushed him into Yachty.
Hey, what the 1991 World Series is going on there? Where's Kent Herbeck?
Don't even.
Rosario gets the bunt down to third in time. Wow, that had to have been really close at third base. It looked like Yachty was safe, and then the throw into second base is not in time to try to get Baez advancing.
For some reason, the second base umpire was calling time. He would have been out at second. And they're trying to figure out why he would have called time. Watch this play right here at third. Good job by Jurgens. And now he's going to be out at second, but they called time for whatever reason. You see the play there? That's quickly.
Oh, I think he was safe, first of all. I mean, that one should be looked at again. I'm not sure what happened at second base, but it is not to the delight of Hensley Mullins at all, who's wanting an explanation. So a couple of things happening there. A play that should be reviewed at third. Another look at Molina, who appeared to get in there safely.
Now this play will take a while to develop. Watch, they're going to sneak in behind.
I'm surprised that we're not getting a review here, that Edwin Rodriguez has not asked for a crew chief review, because it looked pretty clear to me that Molina was safe at third base, and I still don't know what happened at second as to why time was called. One out, first and second for TJ Rivera. So it's scored as a fielder's choice play. Rivera homered in his first at bat tonight. That came against the starter Vandenhirk. Hit .350 plus last year at AAA Las Vegas. Called up to the Mets late in the season, and due to a variety of injuries ended up starting the wild card game for the Mets last year. He has played his way right into their plans. Puerto Rico starters that has started the entire tournament. Played the entire tournament, that is. There goes a runner to third. The throw down there is in time to get him. You don't need to speak fluent Spanish to know that Javi's asking for a crew chief challenge here. He's convinced he was in there safely. It looked like the ball beat him.
He did the old swim move, and it's whether or not he was able to tag him as he avoids the tag. He's pretty confident here that he was able to avoid the tag. He was definitely out. The ball beat him. He did not get a great jump getting to third base.
You know, we saw Baez do this all year. He can avoid a tag with the best of them. He got no counter argument from Bogarts, by the way. Just can't tell there.
Yeah, he's going to be safe.
Unbelievable, this guy. I'm telling you, Javi Baez, he is part contortionist, part power lifter, part high jumper. I don't know, John. I felt much more sure that Molina was safe at third than I am Baez on this instance.
Yeah, I think he's safe, though. Now that it's going to have to be conclusive because of the call. But see, he goes to tag him there and he completely misses. And then he tries to get him back, and by the time he gets him back, the hand's on the base.
The fans are reacting to the replays here on the Jumbotron at Dodger Stadium as though Baez is safe, and again taking plenty of looks at this in New York City.
Do that in a swimming pool when you're diving like that, going down to a game we used to play, but this is much more difficult here on the dirt. He does this almost like it's some kind of slow motion.
Man, this is a tough one. And the call is overturned. Baez is safe. He's unbelievable, John. I think you and I did a game in Pittsburgh this year where Baez avoided a tag at second base that defied description. The way that guy can turn and twist in midair.
Well, he's going to take chances during the season and probably frustrate the manager a couple times, but the ability for him to overcome stuff like that and make fantastic plays way outweighs the aggression and the aggressiveness of which he can play this game.
So credit Baez with his second stolen base of the tournament. Check that, his fourth stolen base of the tournament. We'll be all right. And now it's a chance for Rivera to knock in a run with a fly ball. And I'm convinced again, had they decided to ask for a challenge on Molina at third base, he would have been safe too. One and one to T.J. Rivera. Meanwhile, he's saying, "I told you so." A lot of standing around. Meanwhile, for Jair Jurgens. Zaraga wants to crowd him, that is.
Well, we saw in the first two pools there were some tough calls that weren't made correctly, and not every call is going to be made correctly, but there was not the use of what we have seen twice now, instant replay in those rounds.
Raymond Fuentes waits on deck, and that's the top of the order, the switch hitter Angel Pagan. Back-to-back singles, a fielder's choice play, and a stolen base, and a fastball that stays high to make it 2-1. Jair Jurgens would love nothing more than to roll a ground ball here. The Dutch have turned double plays twice tonight. First and third with one away. There goes a runner from first, and Rosario advances after the swing of the miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes, second and third with one away.
Let's see how Mullins decides to treat his infield. Looks like he's going to have him in. And already that is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th meeting on the mound between 2 teams. And we're in the 4th.
Are you scoring those?
I am scoring them.
Well, after we watched that Venezuela-Puerto Rico game in San Diego last week, I mean, that took it to a ridiculous level. I thought I was watching Game 5 of the 2009 World Series, and that Jorge Posada was behind the plate.
I have a solution.
Make him what, 1 an inning, one a plate appearance?
No. You only get like 3 timeouts per game.
Wow.
That's the starting point.
2-2 to Rivera, popped him up. And there are 2 away.
Big pitch and big out. You know, other sports have a limit on timeouts. Basketball, football.
It's true. It is technically a stoppage in play. Yeah.
I think hockey only has 1, right? Something like that. You rarely see a timeout in hockey.
Yeah, Rivera not pleased with himself there. A base hit makes this a 3-run game. Fly ball gets a run in, but the infield pop puts 2 out on the board. And hands the opportunity to Raymond Fuentes, who's just 2 for 14 in the tournament. Well, Mullins mentioned in his interview with John Paul Morosi the potential availability of Jurgens on Wednesday should the Dutch win, but after that pitch he will not be eligible to come back, so they'll try to get everything they can out of him here before Shyron Martus is handed the baseball, and they hope that's not for a while. Fuentes breaks his bat on a bouncer to second base, and Jurgens pitches out of a jam. Second and third, one away, nothing in the Puerto Rico half of the 4th. Hey, this is still a 1-run ball game in LA. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of World Baseball Classic Inc. and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Just a 1-run dialogue here in Los Angeles. Starting the 5th inning. Convivial atmosphere in the grandstand today, as has been the case all tournament long, as Xander Bogart leads things off. Bogart's Profar and Valentin, the powerful part of the Dutch lineup. Hector Santiago continues. He has allowed only 1 base hit. He's walked a batter and struck out 2 since coming on in the 3rd. You know, we talk about the Puerto Rico lineup, John, and how impressive it is with veteran major league talent. Their bullpen has held up really well in this tournament.
Yeah, as I said last time, I was surprised, maybe underrated them as much as anybody, thinking.
A roller for Correa.
Thinking they were undermanned in that department. They were maybe more overshadowed because their hitting ability was so good. But they didn't give up any runs in their pool on their way to San Diego, and they continued that in San Diego with just excellent pitching. And again, I got to credit. Sounds like we're all sitting here trying to get Yadier Molina for President, it's his credit of how he works a pitcher through the game. He gets the most out of the guy that's on the mound. And he's getting a lot of calls. So that's another credit to him, and the ability for him to frame or coerce or make something look differently.
Well, I'm quite sure that if he were ever on a ballot in the state of Missouri, Yadi Molina would do very well.
Yeah.
Jurickson Profar, the batter, with one away. Puerto Rico's bullpen has worked to the tune of a 1.69 ERA in this tournament as Profar takes a big swing and miss. On the ground to first. Rivera does this himself, and there are 2 gone. We have not had a 1-2-3 inning in this game so far. As you take a look at the bullpen comparisons, both of them have been really good. And for the Dutch, theirs got a lot deeper with the addition of Kenley Jansen, who is available tonight for an inning. Here's Valentin now. A monster 2-run home run in the first. He was intentionally walked in the third. Oh, and 1.
Santiago's been really good with his fastball and his fastball away, and you see primarily fastballs. Again, thrown across your body. It's not prototypically the way you want to, but his reaction, or the hitter's reaction.
Into left field and well hit. Pagan turns his back to the infield, and it's off the very top of the wall. Valentine just missed his second home run of the night. Let's go!
Yeah, the off-speed pitch just misses it from being hit a long way. You see the changeup fades over the middle of the plate, and then the top spin of that ball catches the very top of the wall. There's a little bit of a platform right there, and it hit just below the top portion of the fence and dropped straight down. Yadi knows as soon as that pitch is thrown, you can see him body was trying to see what that ball could stay in the yard, but it did.
Here's Jonathan Scope now. He's 0 for 2 tonight. What am I missing here with Valentin, John? I mean, I know that he likes playing in Japan by all accounts. Again, he's the single season home run record holder there. He signed a 1-year deal to go back to Japan this year. But I mean, I could think right now, top of your head, 2 handfuls of teams in the American League that could use a DH like him.
Well, the problem, Matt, whether we like it or not, analytics has determined the age of a person and what they can do, and analytics has determined at 32, 33 years old based on your speed, and it's a shame. So this wouldn't have been an issue 10 years ago. It is now, and people are not willing to take that risk based on the information they're getting, even though, you know, guys can stay in better shape and their age was not as big of an issue as it is today.
You know, everybody we've talked to about Valentin, he's made adjustments. He's cut down the strikeout totals. They're going to intentionally walk Scope now.
Guys keep themselves in pretty good shape, but as soon as certain foot speed or certain things don't match up, they're going to find a younger guy and deal with that him not being ready, but athletically maybe more available. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't get it if I was running a team. I would be seeing which product going to make me and help me win a baseball game.
Intentional walk issued to Scope as we take a look at that ball that Valentin hit a moment ago.
StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services. This ball was hit with a little bit more topspin. 109 miles an hour, 376 feet.
First and second with 2 gone now for Sean Zaraga, the catcher, who occupies a very important spot in this lineup. Zaraga to the gap in left center field. A ball well hit that'll split the outfielders. Valentin scores. Scope to the plate. The throw is in time to get him. Wow! It looked like Scope was going to beat that throw by 2 or 3 feet.
This is one of the best relay throws you'll ever see, but the foot goes up, right? The hardest thing to do when you're sliding into home plate is get that lead foot down. But see, Yadi does a great job with his foot. He doesn't block the plate, but he puts his foot to the sliding leg, which allows him to make the tag. This, I'm just telling you, this relay throw right now is as good as it's going to get from Javi Baez. See, the foot is up, and the trail leg never gets to the plate before the tag is made. Wow.
They will look at it again, but as we just saw, everything John just described is exactly what happened. The foot never got down onto the plate.
This needs 2 perfectly executed throws. First by the outfielder, second by Baez, and then third, Molina. So good at the little things, and that little thing was his foot in front of home plate.
Team Puerto Rico just put on an absolute clinic.
He barehands it, he overthrows the first cutoff, but it don't matter at this time because Baez has got a gun.
Fans responding to the confirmation of the call at the plate. Brilliant defensive execution by Team Puerto Rico. This World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is brought to you by the Puerto Rico Tourism Company. Visit SeaPuertoRico.com to plan your trip today. And sponsored in part by T-Mobile. Switch to the network built for unlimited data. And by MLB The Show 17, available March 28th. A 3-3 ball game, last of the 5th inning, top of the order here for Team Puerto Rico. Pagan, Lindor, and Correa.
You know, we obviously gave a lot of credit to Baez, but it's Pagan's barehanded grab and throw in one motion that made it even possible.
Angels over 2 tonight. And it's 2 balls and no strikes from Jair Jurgens, who took over on the mound in the 3rd. Had a little trouble in the 4th, but ended up getting through it without allowing a run, despite a couple of hits and a stolen base. 2 stolen bases, as a matter of fact. Pagan into right for a base hit.
Now here's the play that if you just missed it or tuned it in, this was an incredible play. And at home plate right now, you see the play at the plate, easily called out. With the new rules about running into the catcher, it actually promotes more of a slide head first away from the target. But let's look at the barehand play. As he's falling down, he makes the throw. They adjust in the relay tandem, and then a bullet, 1 hop to Yadier. So I really believe if Scope would have went in head first away from Yadi, he would have been safe. It's hard to get that lead foot down on the plate because the plate obviously is not like a base.
Here's Lindor now. He has doubled and scored tonight. An exciting play to end the inning. The Dutch are able to score 1 to tie it. You know who the price of poker is going up for with every game in this tournament? There's a bouncer to second base. So the shortstop for 1, and Simmons relays not in time. Scope and Simmons giving it a shot. But Lindor runs too well. They're going to look at this again. They're asking for a review.
Third baseman number 1.
What is Simmons claiming?
Has to do with the slide into second base, I would think. There's the quick turn, and we're going to watch the slide, and that slide, making contact with your hands is not something you can do as a base runner. So the hands of Pagan cannot contact Simmons. This game's got it all, Matty.
It sure does. Barring any reversal, there'll be a runner at first with one away, but they're going to look at this play again.
Well, when the rules changed, we saw this play early on. Jose Bautista against the Rays. The game ended on what would have been an accepted. Well, it's never accepted to put your hands on the infielder. You could have slid into the infielder before and taken him out, but you can't do that anymore. And the question I think we were going to see is it the slide that actually contacts Simmons, or is it the hand right there that makes contact?
You know, my assertion would be this. They're calling him safe at first base and confirming the play at second. I don't believe that impacted the throw at all. And maybe that's the conclusion that they reached in New York as well. And it looks like, is Bam Bam making a change here?
I think he's got a question still.
I believe he does. The bullpen is partially obscured, the Dutch bullpen, from where we sit. He just wants clarification. Jurgens will remain out there again, 1 out, 1 on for Carlos Correa. Shyron Martus was up earlier.
The new rule is you cannot deviate in your slide to go out of the base path. You must make a slide into the base. And I think Simmons was inquiring that may or may not have been the case there.
So if we just see a hitter advanced on a drop third strike, we'll have seen everything tonight. Literally everything. I mean, this is wild. Here's Correa now. He is homered and singled this evening. Good speed at first base in Lindor. So now that he's not on base, he was cut down on that fielder's choice play. I was getting ready to talk a little bit about Angel Pagan, for whom the price of free agent poker is going up every time we see one of these games. He's had a great tournament. Angel is unsigned, 35 years old, after his 4-year deal with the Giants expired in the fall. He has had some opportunities, some phone calls. I talked to him today before the game, and I said, the phone's got to be ringing. And he said he doesn't really care because he's worried about Team Puerto Rico now. He knows he's going to sign someplace. He knows it's going to work itself out. His focus is right here with this team for the next couple of days. Two 2-0 to Correa. Carlos Beltran waiting on deck with 1 out and 1 on. The Dutch even it up in the top of the 5th. Two and 1.
Tell you what, Correa, when it first started in San Diego, probably didn't have his swing where he has it right now. As each game has gone, you could see some of these guys getting more in tune with their mechanics and feeling comfortable at the plate.
Three balls and a strike to Correa now. Puerto Rico's lineup scored late against Team USA, scored late against the Dominicans, and scored a lot late against Venezuela in the last round of the tournament. Full count now.
Pretty sure they'll send the runner. Correa's got great plate awareness.
Two stolen bases already tonight for Puerto Rico. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Carlos Correa. 1 out, 1 on, and a tie game. There goes Lindor on ball 4. A base hit, a fielder's choice play, and now a base on balls has given Carlos Beltran an opportunity.
Number 15, Carlos
Shyron Martus is hot. He's ready to go, and it looks like Bam Bam's going to make the change. A pitching change for Beltran in a 3-3 tie in the 5th. We'll be right back. Pitcher of the ball game to be used by the Dutch, and it'll be a big league veteran, Shyron Martus. A couple of years with the Nationals, spent the 2013 season with the Twins. 29-year-old right-hander who grew up in Curacao with childhood friend Jonathan Scope, with whom he shares a uniform for this event.
Martus has the slider that goes down and late when it's good, lateral when it's bad. Fastball has some outside run at 91 plus miles an hour, otherwise pretty straight, and a changeup. Martus is hoping to give the Netherlands not only this but a couple innings if possible.
Been used often in the tournament. In fact, he leads the entire tournament in appearances and has to deal with the switch hitting power threat of Carlos Beltran, who has singled and flied out tonight. Beltran has first and second with 1 gone. The 0-1 from Martus is swung on and missed.
There's that changeup. That's really good action. Comes off his hand. There's the grip to that pitch. Everything comes out of the fastball slot, and the grip takes off the speed, and the depth of it down is what fools Beltran.
Martus has been around a while. He was signed in 2004 out of Curacao, and then a couple of years later in 2006 traded to the Giants. He was traded for MLB Network radio host Mike Stanton. That's how long this guy's been in pro ball. Mike's had his feet up working from home for a while now. Martus was around for the World Baseball Classic in 2006, 2013. Trying to pitch out of a little jam here. Dutch pitching is yet to record a 1-2-3 inning. They gave up 2 in the first on the Correa home run. Another home run allowed. The TJ Rivera shot in the second. They pitched out of jams in the 3rd and 4th. And Martus is 1 out away from pitching out of another jam here in the 5th.
Another good changeup.
We talked about Martus's WBC time. He was 18 years old in 2006. The only no-hitter in WBC history. Walked the batter, and thanks to the mercy rule, the game ended after 7 innings. The Netherlands beat Panama 10-7 in a qualifying match. The only no-hitter in World Baseball Classic history. Be up to Yadier Molina now with runners at first and second and 2 away. And 0-1 to Molina on another good changeup. Molina has grounded into a double play and singled tonight. Into right field. First and second and 1 away, and Shyron Martus shuts the door. A couple of opportunities have gone south for Puerto Rico the last couple of innings. Still a 3-3 game. Follow every pitch of the semifinals and finals live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. Stay connected to the game's best players all season long with radio broadcast, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat today, your #1 app for live baseball. And join Major League Baseball in the new era as we celebrate opening day on April 3rd. Make sure to wear your cap. Share a photo on social media using #CapsOn and tune into all the opening day action on ESPN, MLB Network, and MLB.com. Hector Santiago continues for Puerto Rico in a 3-3 tie. Bottom third of the Dutch order. Urendel DeCaster, Curt Smith, and Kalyan Sams.
Castor just missing a home run on his previous at bat. Flew out to center. Looks like he likes the ball down. That's where some of his power comes from.
3-1. 8. Urendel DeCaster is responsible for one of the biggest moments in World Baseball Classic history for the Dutch.
The Netherlands 90 feet away from Miami. Ground ball.
Strikes out here, but what we were about to show you, and we'll get to it, is the walk-off winner in 2009.
The Netherlands 90 feet away from Miami. Ground ball off the glove of Ibar. They did it. They win it. Down goes the Dominican.
Our colleague Rich Waltz with the signature call there, and a signature moment for the Kingdom of the Netherlands. 10 scoreless innings in that game, and DeCaster wins it 2-1 in 11. Curt Smith the batter now. Behind quickly 0-2.
The Netherlands are not getting cheated. I think their swings are a little too big for a guy like this, where he cuts and moves the fastball in and out. They're definitely trying to hit it out.
Curt Smith's 1 for 1 with a walk tonight. Just missing the corner is Hector Santiago. Each team has had an opportunity tonight to tack on a bigger run total. The Netherlands side has run themselves out of a couple of opportunities. And Team Puerto Rico has left 2 runners stranded in each of the last 2 innings.
Yeah, you're right. By all accounts, the Netherlands easily could have some more runs. They're deadlocked at 3. But we've seen this Puerto Rican team do this a lot. They had Dominican Republic had the bases loaded, nobody out in their first inning. He got out of it with no problems. Went on to win that game.
Smith continues to hang around, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Been a handful of double plays in this game. Strike 3 taken by Smith.
Well, earlier in the game, something that might go unnoticed. We thought that this play was a little strange, but the bunt play that's put on and then the throw to third, okay, whether or not he was safe or not. I want you to watch what develops here. As he sneaks behind Baez, the throw is going to catch him, but see how time was called? I don't really understand why that time was called, but nonetheless it was, and Baez was allowed to stay at second base.
Part of a very unusual inning. Kalyan Sams now, he's singled tonight. Sams took a ball deep to left. It was handled by Pagan in the second and then punched a base hit to right in the fourth. And he's quickly behind 0-2.
See where this pitch ends up. Close.
Two gone, bases empty. A couple of strikeouts for Hector Santiago. He struck out 4 in his now 3 innings of work. Shakes off Molina a couple of times. It's the last time you said that.
Santiago's so much more comfortable to his glove side, which means that's the inside part of the plate to a right-hander. He can get it in there really with freedom. Now that was a ball. Let's see if Yachty then tries to convince him to go the other side of the plate now, and he does.
That's out.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
By going in, it expands the pitch away and gets the hitter from diving out over the plate. That's how you can make one fastball look like 2 different pitches.
And Sams is aboard on what he thought was ball 4. He's going to have to come on back. It's 3-2, young man.
Well, he thought, you know, he didn't like the one pitch inside. I'm sure in his mind he thought that was still a ball, even though it was called a strike.
Come on back. Come on back. I mean, there hasn't been a 1, 2, 3 inning, so he thought, why not? And now he can take his base. You see those Dutch fans? These guys are like, man, our guy doesn't even know the rules.
Shortstop number 2, Andrelton Simmons.
All right, so after he earns the base on ball, Sams is on base for the 2nd time in this game, and here comes Edwin Rodriguez. He's gotten 55 pitches out of Hector Santiago. He's really bridged things beautifully. Andrelton Simmons is the scheduled batter.
Maybe gauging, you know, he's asking him some questions, see how he responds, talking to Yachty or Molina. That's good enough to keep him in the game. A little bit of a questionnaire there to get the temperature.
Yeah, perhaps one more assignment, and it'll come against his former teammate Simmons. Simmons has singled, struck out, and reached on a fielder's choice tonight. Put together a very fine offensive season last year in Anaheim. Despite the 37 days on the DL with the injured thumb, ended up hitting .281. Guy who was at one point in his career considered all glove no bat. Made some contributions offensively for Mike Scioscia last year. And what Hensley Mullins would love to figure out is how to keep this ending alive and get Bogarts, Profar, and Valentine an opportunity with runners on. ball and a strike to Andrelton Simmons.
Only reason I'm chuckling, I've been there when a pitcher screams for a pop-up that's nowhere close to being in play because he wants that third out. That one was like 30 rows back.
You can bag, that's all right, man. 2 out in the inning. Pretty good hitter at the plate. A ball and a strike to Simmons. Molina wants this one on the corner. Well, he missed inside. And Simmons fouls it back.
There's that and the emphatic check when there's no way he swung. Your view gets distorted as a pitcher. It's basically under the begging category.
Sams off first with 2 gone. A 3-3 ball game, top of the 6th inning. A ball and 2 strikes on Andrelton Simmons with 2 away. Molina sets up on the corner again. Come inside again. Sharply hit the shortstop. A routine for Lindor to retire the side. 3 1/3 in middle relief by Hector Santiago. He's kept it tied. Fans of Team Puerto Rico have traveled well throughout this event. Of course, in Miami, close to home, in San Diego last week, and here in Los Angeles. And they're watching a 3-3 tie. The winner of this one advances to the final game on Wednesday to take on the winner of tomorrow's Japan-U.S. game.
Did you see on the way in they were selling percussion instruments to get into the stadium?
For real?
No, but it seems like
I was going to say we got to send a runner out to get some of those because I just love the atmosphere that's created. It's not like watching a Padres-Rockies game in September. I guarantee you that. It just feels a lot different in the stands as Javi Baez yanks one foul. Baez leading things off in the last of the 6th. Baez, Rosario, and Rivera. Shyron Martus took over in the 5th inning and stranded a pair of base runners. Oh. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Now you got to go lower than low or higher than high. That's 2 strikes. The one thing that we talked about, Baez still can strike out quite a bit, but he's cut that down. You got to throw this slider down or fastball way up.
On the ground at 3rd for Bogart. Airtight infield defense for the Dutch, and part of it is Jonathan Schoop, who is wearing a microphone for us tonight.
Hey, you want some of the bag too? Sorry. They can replay again, right? They can, right?
I'm guessing that's I got it in Papiamento.
Your guess is
Spanish. It's one of the two, because it was not English. That
right.
I do have that down. Jonathan Schoop, one of the multilingual members of this Kingdom of the Netherlands team. A swing and a miss by Eddie Rosario. You know, we asked Hensley Mullins before the game, give us some authentic Papiamento baseball dialogue. And he thought about it, and he said, well, we're trying to encourage hitting the ball hard, for which you would say in Papiamento, Dalia Balia Dudu. Jay Peter, to get that right, you're the linguistics guy. You're the
Absolutely, Matt.
Okay.
Dalia Balia Dudu. That was exactly what Hensley told us before the game. I studied it, I memorized it, and like most languages I speak, Matt, that's actually the only sentence I know in Papiamentu.
0-2 is the count to Eddie Rosario. Hensley is fluent in Japanese as well from his time there playing. Yeah, to be able to communicate cross-culturally in this game, ever-changing. 35% of Major League Baseball Spanish speaking. What a benefit, what a skill set that is to have.
I still think someday he'll be managing a team. He's had success with the Giants, of course, some championships under Bruce Bochy.
2-2 to Rosario. Well, he has worked tirelessly on behalf of baseball in his home country. He's telling us about the clinics that he has performed in Aruba, in Curacao. High fly ball into the opposite field for Sams. And 2 gone. It's interesting when you track the evolution of baseball in the Netherlands. It really began at the grassroots level with kids clinics. Free clinics for any kid that plays in their organized little leagues there. And these are the same clinics that have produced ultimately a lot of the talent on the field. Xander Bogart, Jonathan Scope. Hensley was telling us about those players as children learning the game in those clinics. Here's TJ Rivera now. So when Major League Baseball sets up a lot of its outreach programs, the RBI program here domestically and a lot of the youth academies that they've established internationally, it's for reasons just like that. Harvest young talent, give those kids an opportunity to play.
And it started young, as we learned from him, and just some of those camps now became Little League World Series. They've pretty much dominated that region when they represent in the Little League World Series.
Shyron Martus looking for 5 up, 5 down since coming on in the 5th.
Funny, when we would be during the season, that would be on in the clubhouse, and Andrew Jones and Eddie Perez, which represents 2 different places, would be rooting, you know, for these little leaguers, and we'd be sitting back and enjoying how they would be following those guys. And at that point, really, Andrew was representing him and Jurgens, Curacao, and now we're seeing more and more of the talent being developed.
The next 1-2 to Rivera. And he's doing his best just to stick around there and spoil off as many pitches as he can. A pair of home runs tonight by Team Puerto Rico, but since then Dutch pitching has really buckled down. And Rivera swats a ground ball to Simmons. Best pick on somebody else. That's a 3-time Gold Glover, and that's 5 in a row retired by Martus out of the bullpen. And that, folks, was the first 1-2-3 inning on either side tonight. Still tied 3-3. Still a 3-3 ball game as we hit the top half of the 7th inning. The winner tonight will face the winner of tomorrow's U.S.-Japan matchup to play for the title on Wednesday. We'll be on the air tomorrow and Wednesday at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock local time as the World Baseball Classic wraps up. Still much to be determined tonight, of course, in a 3-3 ball game. The 2-time Detroit Tigers minor league pitcher of the year, Joe Jimenez, takes over on the mound in the 7th. He goes to work on Xander Bogart, Jurickson Profar, and Vladimir Valentin. Unquestionably the toughest part of the Dutch lineup.
Good arm, lower 3/4 arm release, fastball upwards of 96, and a pretty good slider.
Jimenez pitched at 3 different levels in the Tigers system last year and ended up with 55 overall appearances. Saved 30 of the 31 opportunities he was given. He is one of the Tigers' top prospects, as you saw. Terrific numbers across the board. And it's 2 balls and a strike to Xander Bogart. A 1.5 ERA. +13 strikeouts per 9. And now 3 balls and a strike to Bogarts.
Right now, you see that rotation that he does when he's getting ready to throw. Right now, over rotating and overthrowing, it's affecting his command. And we talked about it all throughout this run, that it only takes one reliever to not be on his game in one particular inning because of the restrictions put on and the lack of appearances.
Full count out of Bogarts, 3 balls and 2 strikes. What we've seen of Jimenez in this tournament is you watch that knee-high fastball, a good late run on it. He likes to put away 2 strike counts with a slider. Into left field, a leadoff base hit. Went with a fastball, and Bogarts was there to whack it into left.
Well, earlier in the game, StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, is going to talk about the spin rate on the fastball for Santiago. He can throw it in, can throw it out and up. 93.8 miles per hour. And a guy who throws across his body and has a lot more spin on his four-seamer.
Santiago's great tonight. 3 1/3, allowed just the 1 run. Leadoff hitter aboard now for Jurickson Profar. It's the first time that the Dutch team has had their leadoff hitter on base since the very first inning, when they ran themselves out of what could have been a huge opening frame. Valentin hit the 2-run home run after 2 separate outs were committed on the base paths. Bogarts at first, 0-1 on Profar.
They said coming into this game, their manager said, look, we're riding the backs of Mr. Valentin, and so far that has held true. He's hit the 2-run homer and scored the 3rd run after hitting a double. And now, interestingly enough, that is going to call for a change. So he didn't like the lack of command out of his youngster out there on the mound.
Edwin Rodriguez had a left-hander up, so we'll see if Profar responds by flipping around to finish this at-bat from the right side of the plate. A mid-count pitching change. We'll be right back. Yeah, we thought it was going to be one of those nights with a lot of runs, but the bullpens have really asserted themselves after the high-scoring start to the ball game. Still a 3-3 tie, top of the 7th inning. After a pitching change, the Dutch have a runner at first base and a 1-1 count for Jurickson Profar. A couple of home runs in this game. 3, in a matter of fact, all told. And here we go with Profar 1-1. He will turn around and bat right-handed against the new pitcher. Southpaw Alex Claudio takes over. And this is a curious move for a couple of reasons. A, you don't see a lot of mid-count changes. B, Alex Claudio is much more effective against left-handed hitting. There are no left-handed hitters in the Dutch lineup. So this is Edwin Rodriguez managing purely on feel here, John.
Yeah, he's funky and pitches under the radar gun, really. He just uses a kind of a frisbee changeup. He's got a slider, and the angle of which they're not used to seeing from a left-hander, but it had more to do with what the previous pitcher wasn't commanding that fastball.
A regrettable late pass by Profar, and it's 2-2 now.
Claudio's done a nice job just mixing it up. Don't know if he'll go to that 2-2 changeup right here, but you can see the late swing, anticipating maybe something off speed, and he's just flat out fooled.
Claudio had plenty of big league time with the Rangers last year, got into 39 games. His Ranger mate bounces it to first. Profar's doubled up.
this is just an outstanding play started by Rivera. Watch him just lead the runner. Doesn't have to throw it hard, but then as soon as he gets back to the bag. And Lindor does the rest.
A 3-6-3 double play puts 2 outs on the board and cleans the bases. A much more preferable way with which to pitch to Vladimir Valentin. Valentin's been a beast tonight, as he has all tournament long. A 2-run home run double. He scored 2 of the 3 runs. They will pitch carefully to Valentin here. Jonathan Schoop waits on deck, and again, it's worth reiterating the fact that there's really a dramatic split for Alex Claudio versus right-handers and left-handers. Right-handers hit .310 against him last year. 2-1. Left-handed batters just a $177. And a base hit to right.
I think they're happy with that.
Puerto Rico, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would agree.
Second baseman, number 6, Jonathan Schoop.
I give Valentin a lot of credit as a hitter for taking what was given to him there. He's the guy that can change the scoreboard with one swing. He takes the single the other way and gives Schoop a chance.
I think he realized they weren't going to give him anything in the middle part of the plate, and they were going to stay away, so he went away with the pitch. Passed the baton.
Appeal down to first base on Schoop's check swing. 1 ball and no strikes. So we mentioned Schoop is better versus right-handed pitching, curiously. We gave you those numbers earlier. More power versus the right side, too. 20 of his 25 home runs. I think he thought about leaning into that.
There's the changeup right there.
Tom Stoifbergen is up in the bullpen.
Changeup floated. Actually cut.
And it's 3 balls and no strikes to Jonathan Schoop. Switch hitting catcher Sean Zaraga waits on deck. He had the RBI double to tie the game in the 5th. Three and 1. Bogart single to open the inning. Claudio gets the double play ball, then Valentin singles, and the 3-1 to Schoop is on the ground to third. Correa's got it. And we are still tied in the 7th. They get up and stretch at Dodger Stadium. The winner moves on, but we are stuck at 3-3 in LA. Molson, JP Morosi, Matt Vasgersian, and a 3-3 tie. To the winner, a spot in the final game on Wednesday night. They would take on the winner of the U.S.-Japan matchup tomorrow. As we talked about earlier, boy, it looked like they were going to be off to the races tonight. This is a 3-2 game after just an inning and a half. And Tom Stoifbergen will try to keep it tied at 3 as we enter the last of the 7th.
Fastball straight over the top, up 91 plus, but I think his best pitch is the changeup. It acts like a screwball, about 14 miles an hour different than the fastball.
Puerto Rico sends up its number 9 hitter Raymond Fuentes, then the top of the order Pagan and Lindor. Stoifbergen spent some time in the minors with the Cardinals after being selected by St. Louis as a 39th rounder back in 08. Spent 3 seasons in their farm system. then hooked on with the Independent Leagues American Association. Pitched in the offseason back in the Netherlands and took home the MVP honors in the 2011 Baseball World Cup, and then rejoined affiliated ball here in the States and spent some time kicking around between the Marlins, Twins, and Cards again. He strikes out Raymond Fuentes for route number 1. This date in baseball history today, 1973, the great Roberto Clemente was elected to the Hall of Fame in a special vote that was conducted just 11 weeks after his tragic death in a plane crash. He ended his Hall of Fame career after 18 seasons with exactly 3,000 hits. This date, 1973, Roberto Clemente became a Hall of Famer. Just 38 years old at the time of his death. One away for Angel Pagan, who is single tonight. An all-star for 12 seasons, played in 15 all-star games back in the day when they used to play 2 in a game. Most valuable player in 1966, won a batting title on 4 separate occasions and 12 consecutive Gold Gloves. Will forever be regarded as the penultimate Puerto Rican-born major leaguer. Ball and 2 strikes is the count to Angel Pagan. Swatted to third. Bogarts has got it. For the shortstops that are playing third base in this game, both Bogarts and Correa have had a lot of opportunities, and they've been really good tonight.
I think what people don't understand is, well, what's the difference? It's on that same side of the infield, but your footwork's different. Your setup's different. You're closer. You may have more in-between hops as third base than you would as shortstop because of the distance. And you see how he sets up and tries to get that short hop and stay in front of it. The third baseman can knock it down and still have the time to throw it out, whereas a shortstop, more than likely, that's much more difficult.
Here's Francisco Lindor now. He has doubled and scored tonight. Simmons in the hole. Can't get up and finish with a throw. That would have been one for the tournament highlight reel.
Well, Simmons knew right there the runner he was dealing with was going to take a miraculous effort. Lindor can get down the line. Every time I see Simmons, I think about the play against the Mets in which he saved the game for the Braves, and an incredible play. This guy is so good at short.
Puerto Rico now has at least 1 base hit in every inning but that 1, 2, 3, 6th. And Lindor's inning extending single gives Carlos Correa a chance with a man on. Carlos has homered, singled, and walked tonight. 3 home runs and 9 driven in the tournament. He's played in all 7 games. Trying to break a 3-3 tie in the last of the 7th. I know Stuykbergen wants to chat with Zaraga. And now Zaraga wants to chat with himself. Bullpens have been great tonight. That of the Netherlands is unscored upon. Only 1 run yielded by the Puerto Rico pen. 0-1 to Carlos Correa. When the Netherlands bats in the 8th, they have the 6, 7, 8 part of their order. Puerto Rico stranded 2 in the 4th. They had 2nd and 3rd, 1 away that inning. They stranded 2 in the 5th. The Netherlands has stranded at least 1 base runner every inning tonight. Challenged him with a fastball, swung on and missed. Just high enough. Stuyfbergen's a big man.
Yes, he is.
Listed at 6'3", 270.
Basically fastball changeup so far.
On the ground to shortstop for Simmons. The quick throw is in time to get Correa, retire the side without incident. Still angling towards a conclusion in a 3-3 tie. The Kingdom of the Netherlands consists of the countries on your screen and the islands therein. That's Royal Palace on Dam Square. Capital and largest city is Amsterdam, of course, with its canals, more of them than Venice, and brilliant bicycle culture. Holland is famous for the windmills. There's still about 1,200 in existence today. And of course, the tulips, the wood shoes, and baseball more and more on the radar in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. JP.
And Matt, they lead the continent in European championships. 22 European championships for the Dutch. Second, of course, is Italy.
Sean Zaraga grounds to shortstop. Lindor has time to go through the kind of the Manny Trio routine of counting the seams on the baseball before zipping a throw across to first. And there's one away for Alex Claudio, who took over in the 7th. He was one of 2 pitchers that combined to keep the Dutch scoreless that inning. Here's Urendel de Caster now.
Claudio's just funky enough, Matt, where he just creates sink and changes speeds against an aggressive right-handed hitting Netherlands team.
0-1 the count to Urendel de Caster.
Change up grip, then he'll move it around in his glove to get the pitch that he wants.
I got one for you for Urendel de Caster. Harold's probably already cut 6 breakdown tapes on this for MLB Tonight tomorrow. A right-handed Harold Baines.
Oh, you're good, Matty.
I'll even give you Ernie Young from the mid-2000s vintage Oakland A's, but Ernie Baines is probably the guy we can see on our mind a little bit. I think it's the piece that extends over the batting helmet, which I believe Harold Baines wore for a portion of his career.
Yep, from the other side of the plate.
Yep.
See how that changeup never gets there? He's thrown 3 in a row at him. So now if he were to go to a fastball right now, it would seem like 96-mile-an-hour fastball. But this little changeup that just kind of floats, and he turns it over and it just doesn't get there, and you tell yourself as the hitter, stay back, stay back, stay back.
A ball and 2 strikes to Urendel de Caster. And a base hit to right. Stayed back that time.
Yeah, that was good hitting right there. 87-mile-an-hour fastball after all those changeups. And that's the one approach you have to have. If you know you're getting out in front, a fastball will allow you to stay back and go the other way, because if you jump at all trying to get the ball, the changeup will make you look sick.
Joe Colon is ready in the Puerto Rico bullpen, and Edwin's going to make a move, a pitching change, and we'll be right back. Takes over out of the Puerto Rico bullpen. 0-1 the count to Curt Smith, who has singled and walked tonight.
Colon fastball can touch 95 and beyond. Slider has more of a curveball break to it. Smith looked like he was sitting on fastball in that first pitch.
Puerto Rico got 2 2/3 out of their starters tonight, or their starter. Colon is the 5th Puerto Rico pitcher to be used in this game, and here at Dodger Stadium, where Dodger fans are used to Johnny Holstaff type games, the same is being applied tonight for Puerto Rico. And quite honestly, that's how Edwin Rodriguez has managed his pitching staff all tournament long. He and his pitching coach Ricky Bonas, who you see on his right. Smith. Joe Colon was activated for this round of the tournament, the second round of the tournament, that is, as that high breaking ball is taken. He did not appear in Jalisco, was activated for San Diego, got into 11 games with last year's Indians team. Still 2-2.
Both teams with good end of the game options. Of course, King of the Netherlands just added one of the best, Kenley Jensen, and the hard throwing Diaz for Team Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, in a tie game, when does your manager blink and go to his closer? Little cue shot to second base. Baez tags one and throws out the other. He continues to dazzle on the defensive side of the scorecard. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by Bud Light. And by the DQ $5 lunch, now served all day, every day. Big Tom Stoichbergen continues. Here in the 8th, he gets Carlos Beltran, Yadi Molina, and Javier Baez. A 3-3 ball game. The winner has a date with tomorrow's winner between the U.S. and Japan for the title on Wednesday. Stoichbergen's got to go through 3 big-time bats to keep this game tied. Into shallow right. Valentin got a very late break, and that drops in. Valentin was really deep in right and did not get a terrific read, and the go-ahead runs aboard.
It's another one of those, a changeup that had funny spin off the bat. Scope went forever to try and get this ball. And they're going to get a pinch runner for Beltran, but watch the reaction to this off the bat. A lot of spin, and it kind of floated, and it was going away from Scope right there. And as you said, they had to respect the power, and Valentin was playing too deep.
Beltran removed for a pinch runner. The guy who plays his home games in this yard, Kike Hernandez, will run. He's been dying to get into this game as a Dodger. Wearing everybody out on the bench. His energy has been amazing down there. He's finally out there now. The crowd's excited to see him as well. He's only stolen 2 career bags, but he moves around much better than Beltran. And here's Molina now. Molina bunting, and it's 0-1.
That's one way to stay out of the double play. The other way is a hit and run with Molina at the plate.
Molina has had a terrific tournament. He's 1 for 3 tonight. for it. One away.
Number 9, Javier Baez.
Well, one of the only things that Yadi hasn't done very well as he pops this one up.
Yadi didn't have a single sack bunt last year and only has a couple in the last 2 seasons. Well, Stoikbergen given a little life now, but a dangerous hitter. Javi Baez 2 for 3 tonight. Go ahead run aboard with 1 away. You know what we have not seen out of Stoikbergen yet is what we were told was a refined curveball under the tutelage of a guy that had a pretty good one in his time, pitching coach Bert Blyleven. Apparently that was a pitch that they had resurrected the past couple weeks, but I don't know that I've seen him throw one. Have you seen him throw one breaking ball, one curve?
No.
This is like Rocky boxing right-handed. Not what we expected as Baez sends a high fly ball into right. Valentin's on a dead sprint. And Valentin a little tender as he hit the wall. Guy's been a one-man wrecking crew for the Netherlands lineup, and that's a bat they can ill afford to lose.
Yeah, he had to come a long way, and then that right there, he just kind of jams his feet underneath the padding. It's hard to stop in that short a distance. He tries.
Yeah, it looked like he clipped his left foot, his left toe, and they're going to send a trainer out to look at him. He has made an impact on this game with his bat for sure as we take a look at it again. Left foot right there.
Yeah, just gets pinned under there. And
smiling. Okay, he's going to give it a try. Says, remind me to wear my steel tip boots next time. A ball and a strike to count to Javier Baez. The pinch runner Kike Hernandez at first.
change up to Baez is awfully dangerous pitch if he leaves it out over the middle.
Oh man, is that a bell ringer? Oh, Zaraga just caught that one absolutely flush. He's taken a beating tonight, but nothing worse than that one. Back-to-back plays where Valentin gets a foot jammed and then Zaraga takes a foul tip at about 100 miles an hour.
You can see it catches at least maybe a little deflected, but nonetheless in the jaw area.
Oh. That is a big guy back there, and it knocked him right onto his rear end. What do you do? You're a trainer, and you've got to defer to the player in large part here because there's not a full protocol that is administered between pitches. He's doing his best to try to determine the state of mind of his catcher. That's Giants trainer Dave Kreshner, who Bam Bam brought with him from Scottsdale. And Zaraga's okay to continue. He's really gamed it out tonight. So it's a ball and 2 strikes to Javi Baez.
Nobody's tried to go upstairs with Baez. Fastball above the belt, above the hands.
Still 2-2. Left-handed hitter next. Eddie Rosario waiting on deck. When the Netherlands hits in the 9th, and they're hoping they can get it there tied, they'll have the bottom of the order Sams and then Simmons and Bogarts, and Kenley Jansen is preparing for the one and only inning that he'll be able to give the roster tonight. That is per the Los Angeles Dodgers, 1 inning from their guy. I would imagine Edwin Diaz is looking at a similar restriction tonight. He's not able to go in back-to-back games. We know that. And when do you play that card?
But the winner of this game has a day off tomorrow. So they could bounce back.
And Baez with a swing and a miss.
Well, there's the first one. Breaking ball.
Picked a great time to bust that out, didn't he? Buried it. And here's Eddie Rosario now. 0 for 3 with a stolen base tonight. Into center field. To take this game to the top of the 9th inning, still tied. Well, the final stop is finally here, and don't miss your chance to see the best players representing their country in the semifinals and finals. Tickets are available for tomorrow and Wednesday at worldbaseballclassic.com. Joe Colon continues, top half of the 9th inning, and if you were to have told us after it was 2-2 in the top of the 2nd that we'd be here in the top of the 9th at 3-3, we'd say you were nuts.
Yeah, this game started with a ton of emotion out of both dugouts. They both scored in the 1st inning. It looked like the pitchers were going to have a hard time holding down these lineups, but give the credit to the bullpen. That's exactly what they've done.
Kalyan Sams with a broken back ground ball. The second got to hurry, and Baez is just barely able to get him for the first down of the inning. So, you know, the restrictions on each of the closers will be an important thing to track here, and we documented it last half inning. Edwin Diaz has been great in this tournament. We know what Kenley Jansen is capable of. Each of those guys is capable of giving their manager and their team only 1 inning tonight.
Yeah, it's a big-time guessing game now. Strategy is going to play out with the managers and trying to figure out if this game goes into extra innings, when to bring in the closer, when to bring in your stopper. Because remember, in the 11th inning, it's different than normal. If they get to the 11th inning, both teams starts with runners on 1st and 2nd, nobody out, and then the strategy really comes into play.
Andrelton Simmons with a base hit stroked into center field. So the Netherlands with the go-ahead runner aboard and 1 away. The only inning tonight in which the Netherlands has not stranded at least a base runner was in the 8th. And there was a double play that prevented that from happening. One of 3 double plays turned by Puerto Rico tonight. Xander Bogart this evening has been hit by a pitch, walked, and singled. two-time Silver Slugger Award winner, has a runner aboard.
Almost feel like Diaz would have started this inning, but it almost feels like Diaz is being summoned for Valentin if he gets in. You know, almost keeping him for that kind of weapon.
Remember, Valentine last inning appeared to have injured his left toe or his left foot, stopping shy of the wall in left field. Looks like he's testing it as we speak. Right-handed hitter, that left foot is Plant, his lead foot. Three runs on 11 hits for both sides here in the ninth. Bogart's trying to check it.
I don't think it should have mattered whether he swung or not. Looked like the pitch was right down the middle. It was a strike either way.
Two balls and a strike to count to Xander Bogart. I mean, any thought of running against the Colon and Molina combination just has to be taken with a grain of salt. Simmons has pretty good speed, but Molina has been a beast behind the plate. 42% for his career. I mean, you don't win 8 straight Rawlings Gold Gloves if you can't throw somebody out. Three balls and a strike. Simmons stays put. And there's a strike to fill the count on Bogart.
That is a great pitch. 3-1 count. Goes with the breaking ball. Now that puts all kinds of doubt into Bogart's trying to figure out or guessing a pitch that might come here 3-2.
There's the 42% for the career of Yadi Molina. I rounded up. I think we're okay doing that with him. Runner goes on 3-2. Chopper over the middle. Baez gets one. And with the tag, Rivera gets the other. The fourth double play turned by Puerto Rico tonight. Every time the Dutch has sent a runner, the shifting fielder to try to cover that throw has had a room service chance to start a double play ball. Twenty-nine-year-old all-star closer Kenley Jansen makes his living here in this ballpark. He's available for 1 inning tonight, and Hensley Mullins wants him right now to get this game into extra innings. He'll face T.J. Rivera, Raymond Fuentes, and Angel Pagan, although it looks like there's a pinch hitter next. Big fastball and a bigger swing. It's 0-2.
Yeah, he creates such spin on his, I call it permanent cutter. Everything he throws cuts. He really can throw nothing but that at times and make hitters look like they've never seen a pitch quite like that before. Of course, Mariano Rivera, the best we've ever seen with one pitch.
Dodger fans thrilled to see him out there tonight. The 0-2 home to Rivera. Big swing and a miss. That's what the NL West has been treated to the last handful of years. And there's one away. As good as Jansen was everywhere last year, he was really good here at home.
I mean, that's right down the middle, and the hitter had no chance. It's the way it looks coming in. It's just such a, he's a big imposing pitcher anyways, and the way he throws, they don't see it until it's on him, and then that last bit of movement makes it even harder.
Raymond Fuentes, a batter with one away. Check that, it's Mike Aviles. Mike Aviles pinch hitting for Fuentes with one gone. Aviles had a big day on Sunday. 4 hits, and Rata being named the Alfa Romeo player of the game in Puerto Rico's lopsided win over Venezuela. Veteran big league right-handed bat who is unsigned for 2016, and he's quickly behind 0-2.
Well, in the elimination game for the Dodgers, Jensen came in and threw 3 innings against the Cubs and went through them like it was nothing. Cubs went on to win the World Series.
6 pitches, 2 strikeouts for Kenley Jansen. I mean, I am positive that Henley Mullins would love to be able to call Dave Roberts and the Dodgers and say, hey, if Jansen only throws 7 or 8 pitches, can we get another inning out of him, please?
Yeah, closers and relievers at this point in spring training, and especially the workload that he had last year, they're taking it very cautiously. I think he only has 5 appearances thus far leading into this game, which isn't a lot in spring. So I think the answer is going to be no.
I think you're right. Here's Angel Pagan in from the left side. He's 1 for 4 tonight. 10 pitches, or 7 pitches rather, 7 strikes from Kenley Jansen. Re-upped a 5-year extension to stay a Dodger this offseason.
Seriously, I know there's been several different cases, but we've seen a better conversion from a position change to this one.
I mean, I don't know that I can think of one, unless you count Robin Yount going from MVP at shortstop to MVP as a center fielder. That's not what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah. No, I would agree. There have been converted catchers used as closers, but I don't know at any at the high level of Jansen as Pagan strokes a ground ball to second. That's going to take this game to a 10th inning tonight. Days in the ball game, it takes over and left. And hard throwing Ranger property Edwin Diaz is the new pitcher for Puerto Rico. Jurickson Profar, Vladimir Valentin, and Jonathan Scope in the Netherlands half of the 10th. Diaz has been touched up for a couple of runs in the tournament, but he also has saved 2. He's thrown the ball very well.
Against these 2 guys, the 2 closers for each team, if you got a big swing, good luck, because the fastballs combination get on you quick. Long arm live fastball action.
2 balls and a strike.
Diaz will have a slider that will complement his fastball.
To 2-2 on Jurickson Profar, who has singled tonight. Each of the last 3 innings for the Netherlands have ended in double plays. A full count now, 3-2. Edwin Diaz made his major league debut last June when he was promoted straight from Double-A, when he became the Mariners' closer. 22-year-old right-hander set. Now the M's like what they have in him. Fastball that sits at 97. It's reached up to 101.5 in a major league game. And a swing and a miss.
Right field, number 4, Vladimir Valentin.
Fastball that just eats him up.
So now Vladimir Valentin. He has been on base in all 4 of his plate appearances tonight. A 2-run home run. He's been intentionally walked. He's doubled and singled.
Yeah, he's trying a little gamesmanship too. Like, that's all right. Throw it harder. Throw it harder. I got something for you.
The young bull wanted to challenge him. Oh, and 2. Diaz shaking his head. Oh yeah, they're talking.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't bite if I'm the pitcher. I'm throwing a slider right here.
Up and in. Oh, and Valentin saying, not up there, young guy. And that's going to bring action onto the field as the bench is empty. Dutch guys were hot. Carlos Correa trying to refocus him a little bit.
Well, Baez is not helping the situation either.
He's going crazy out there. Baez is almost egging on the Dutch guys. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, that's a little too close and shouldn't be up there. And now the umpires are going to send warnings.
Edwin Rodriguez isn't happy about the Dutch players coming onto the field, and I think that was the nature of the additional discussion he had with Eric Cooper. Not the best time for the 21-year-old chest-thumping machismo to come out in a tie game, in an elimination game, in extra innings. And Valentin's good looking. This just got dialed up a notch. That's nasty. And Yadi Molina just gets up to make sure Valentin stayed in one line. Scope now. When Puerto Rico bats in the bottom of the 10th inning, Lindor, Correa, and Hernandez. A ball and a strike. Again, if this game goes to 11 innings, the tournament extra innings rules apply. Each team starts with a runner at first and second. Big swing and a miss at 99. Luke Van Mill is up in the Dutch bullpen. The 1-2. I mean, you couldn't write it if you were sitting on Hollywood and Vine and waiting for the Great American Screenplay to come to life. It was 2-2 after an inning and a half. Through many twists and turns, too many for us to recount. It is a tie game headed to the bottom of the 10th, and an opportunity for 32-year-old Luke Van Mill to try to keep it tied get it to the 11th to where the extra innings rules apply, and each team will start with the runner in first and second. Van Mil has been around. He is 7'1", and he is the tallest man ever to play professional baseball in the United States. He was a 7-footer by the age of 15. At that point, he decided, I'm probably too big to continue catching, which is where he began his baseball career. And he moved to the mound.
Well, it's going to seem kind of obvious, but he goes downhill with his fastball. 93, 94 miles an hour, slider, and even a split.
He's got 3 tough assignments here. Francisco Lindor and Carlos Correa in particular, and then Kike Hernandez.
It's not that easy at 7 feet to have everything coordinated.
2 balls and no strikes. A lot of machismo, a lot of testosterone flying around last half inning in the big showdown between Valentin and Diaz. A strike to make it 2-1. Puerto Rico didn't get anything going against the closer Kenley Jansen, who blew through him 1, 2, 3, and very efficiently at that in the 9th. Diaz was just as impressive in his half of the 10th, and now both of the ace closers have been used. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Zaraga wants to talk. This is what kind of flared up the tempers last half inning. Valentin took exception to the up and in. Diaz kind of said a few things back to him. The bench is emptied. Lindor's got a base hit. The winning run's aboard. Well, you couldn't draw this up any better for Team Puerto Rico. They have their most reliable batter at the plate now with the winning run on base.
That bat shattered and went into the dugout of the Netherlands and actually hit somebody. Sawed him off. But that bat produced a single.
Carlos Correa has homered and singled tonight.
That's where that bat goes. And you're watching the play.
My.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
That's when it gets dangerous.
A strike on the corner to Correa, 0-1. We mentioned Luke Van Mil kicking around in the minors. As you take a look at that bat trajectory again, caught everybody by surprise. Correa grounds to shortstop. Simmons to Scope. The relay, the double play.
Now that's a wow. That's a wow because you're talking about Correa, a stud. Van Mil again trying his best to get that ground ball, and he did.
The designated hitter, number 7, Kike Hernandez.
Well, how about this for drama? Kike Hernandez, the Dodger, with 2 out and the bases empty in the last of the 10th, making his first plate appearance of the game. Came on as a pinch runner in the 8th after Beltran singled. And Hernandez takes a strike. If this game goes to the 11th, the Netherlands has their 6, 7, 8 part of the order. And they'll start the inning, as mentioned, with runners at first and second. Most interestingly, one of those runners will be Vladimir Valentine, who earlier in the game appeared to injure his left foot. There's no chance they'll pinch run for him because he is the game-changing bat. 2 balls and a strike to Kike Hernandez now. We've seen a couple games in the tournament use the extra innings rule. Japan was able to beat the Dutch. Fly ball into center field on the dead sprint to Profar, and we're going to the 11th with extra innings rules for the tournament. First and second when we come back, and Edwin Diaz is sticking around. Again, the inning starts in the 11th with runners at first and second. So it's the last 2 hitters that came to the plate in that order. Valentin at second and Scope the runner at first. That's how the inning begins, and Puerto Rico will begin their half of the 11th the same way.
And I like this part, and I like this twist, understanding the tournament format needs for action to happen here. You can't extend it too long.
Pinch hitter leading things off, who has been unsuccessful in getting the bunt down. Now it's 0-2.
And I've been intrigued with the way that the strategy plays out. So far, we've had a couple of these, and the top half, or the visitors, have won this format getting to the 11th inning. Creating pressure for the bottom half of the inning. Of course, that's going to be the same scenario for the home team, but the visitors have come out on top thus far.
And the bunt is down. Well executed on the 0-2 pitch, and the Dutch do get the 2 runners over. Let's take you back to an earlier game in the tournament where the Netherlands couldn't win in the extra innings rule, and that was against Japan. Japan started their 11th, and they executed the sacrifice bunt. They were then able to get the runs in on an RBI single. Game went to the bottom of the inning, and with first and second, Sams popped out. The Dutch couldn't execute, and Japan ended up winning that game. So now some strategy employed by Puerto Rico as they will intentionally walk Urendel de Castro. Edwin Rodriguez is open for the ground ball from Curt Smith. Smith has pop. It's not like you're walking one guy for a for sure ground ball hitter. Well, this is the strategy being used by Puerto Rico. They just want the ground ball. Try to get it into the bottom of the 11th. I don't know about you, John, but I absolutely love this extra innings rule.
I do.
It forces the action.
And I just take it one step further in international play here. I would just start with the bases loaded, because that's usually what you're going to get anyways. Then you really create stress on the pitcher, stress on the infield. You want to play it back and give up 1 run. But nonetheless, we have that scenario played out here with 1 out. And I'm sure they'll play it back for an infield double play up the middle and take their chances in the bottom half.
Edwin Diaz is strikeout fly ball guy. In fact, only 1 double play induced behind him all year last season as Seattle's closer.
And because this is new, it's like a mental hurdle you got to get over, because you give up runs and you feel like, oh, I let it down. Your team has the same opportunity. The goal is to just give up 1 run or less, but understand you can't let it cave in. You can't let it turn into a huge inning.
On the ground to second, and the strategy works. Presented by Geico, where we've gotten to the bottom half of the 11th inning. Puerto Rico, as was the case for the Dutch in the top half, will start with runners at first and second. Those runners are Kike Hernandez. He's at first base. And Carlos Correa, the runner at second. Deshenko Ricardo is the new catcher. The Dutch pinch hit for Sean Zaraga to get the sacrifice down to the top of the inning, but the double play ball aborted their opportunity to score. So Yadi Molina will have another opportunity here. He failed to get a sac bunt down in the 8th. Try it again. Let's take you back to the 8th inning.
It's a little flat on the bat ankle, and when the bat angle's like not out in front, that's what usually happens. You pop it up. Barrel of the bat's got to be ahead of the handle.
Luke Van Mill turned a double play ball against Carlos Correa en route to his scoreless 10th. See the fact that Molina used to sack bunt a little bit. He is way choked up. He'll try it again. And he gets it down. A fly ball, a kick, a base hit certainly, and Puerto Rico moves to the finals on Wednesday. So now is it a given, John, that Baez will be intentionally walked?
I mean, I would think so, unless you think you can strike him out because he's got a bigger swing. You put a lot of stress with the bases loaded, of course, throwing strikes.
They're not going to mess around. They're going to intentionally walk Baez. And Luke Van Mill will try for the same fate that Edwin Diaz was able to achieve in the top of the inning, and that's roll the double play ball. We'll start all this again in the 12th. I mean, this is akin to a football sudden death overtime rule, where the offense gets to start with the ball on his opponent's 20-yard line and needs only a field goal to win the game. You're talking about needing a base hit to win in the bottom of extra innings in this format.
Or now just a fly ball deep enough.
So there's ball 4 to Baez. It's going to be up to Eddie Rosario. Rosario's hitless tonight. He has grounded into one of the 7 double plays in this game. That has been a major storyline tonight. I mean, none bigger than the one turned to the top of the 11th.
Well, he's going to be trying to lift the ball, so if you're Van Mill, you got to try to get the ball down. Ball up gives an opportunity to lift the ball and create a sac fly. The outfielders are going to come in to where they think their arm is equivalent to a play at the plate. And the infield, because of the speed of the batter, is going to play it in.
Rosario to center field. Profar makes the catch. Correa tags. The throw is too late, and Puerto Rico is moving to the finals. In most dramatic fashion, the last of the 11th. Puerto Rico remains undefeated and is 1 win away